If you've ever been optimistic about Black Friday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today, it's going to be the Black Friday edition for November 28th, 2025. We're going to wrap up this truncated holiday week in style by having a great session today. Futures market be damned. We are still going to have a good day here today. I hope that all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And from me and everyone here at Benzinga, I want to wish you and your families a happy Thanksgiving. We love doing this. Everyone that works here is passionate, and we couldn't do it without the support and the drive from our customer base. So thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and get started here today for Black Friday. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Friday, November 28th, 2025 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did. I know I was rooting for the Lions. 13's Packers got the victory, but I was rooting for the Chiefs and the Bengals in the late windows, and they did not disappoint. Plus, I hit a parlay. Plus, I've already made an order here for Black Friday, and there looks to be a couple more coming. It's been a good one so far. We're going to close this week out strong. As a reminder, today we have a half day, so the market closes at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's likely going to be light volume, and if SMX is any indication, there's going to be some crazy stuff in small cap town here today. So buckle up. There's likely going to be some opportunity for us today. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Peter is first today on Black Friday. Peter, let's get it going. Peter's out in the mountains and is still locking in first here. Absolutely love the energy, Peter. I'm sure everyone had a great day yesterday. Yes, I know I did, and I hope all of you did as well. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. Marty says, you feel like you wrestled a bear? It's just the turkey. The bear wrestling doesn't come till this afternoon. In fact, I saw Jim Cramer tweet early this morning that the bears of all kinds are in for a rough Black Friday. He is insinuating that the market is going to go up and those that are short are in trouble. And he's also insinuating that his Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat my Chicago Bears today. So I have a bone to pick with Mr. Kramer here this morning. And if you're a fan of inverse Kramer, then you kind of like hearing that, at least as far as the football game goes. We will see how it all shakes out. Indeed, producer, get wrecked, Kramer. Get wrecked. So fine. Good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, you were missed. Someone was asking for you on Wednesday. Just saying. Good morning, though. Welcome back. And yeah, I'm going to be working on leftovers all day long. I fasted right up until I had Thanksgiving yesterday. It was ready at like 1 p.m. locally, so you don't have to feel sorry for me. But man, oh man, the food was out of this world, and I can't wait to get back at it again today. Cad Monkey, good morning, welcome back. Jane, it's good to see you as always. Good morning, welcome back. Neville, welcome back. Kayla, hello, good morning. Nancy, good morning. What is F1? F1 is car racing. It is the fastest of the car racing, and in my opinion, it is the most exciting of all motorsports. Marty's talking about snowpocalypse in the Midwest. I've heard the same thing. And in fact, I heard that tomorrow, Saturday, here in the local Chicago area, it is supposed to snow all day. Like, we're talking like inches of buildup. And I, for one, could not be happier. I've cleared the books for all of the things that I have to do. Any shopping is going to get done here today. And I am going to be on the couch watching the game. That's right. Ohio State versus Michigan is tomorrow at 11 Central, noon Eastern time. And I hope that there is a blizzard outside. I hope I have my feet up on the couch with the blizzard going on, watching the game. It is going to be a weekend here, Marty. It is going to be a weekend. I'm doing the absolute best I can to contain my excitement because y'all know I like to get overly excited and I wear my emotions on my sleeve. That is just how it is. We'll see how it goes. Jesse, good morning. Welcome back. Oh, Jesse. Oh my God. Jesse, we haven't seen you here in a while, I feel like. Guten Morgen, familia. Or however you're supposed to say it. Nonetheless, good morning, Jesse. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Nancy, Mindful Trading Solutions. I think that's Tanya. Good morning. Welcome back. Dan Nick, excuse me. Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Black Friday. Graph, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader is locked in and ready to go. Day Trader, what kind of deals? I know you're into like electronics and technology and all of that stuff. Have you come across any Black Friday deals that are of note, I should say, whether it be computer equipment, televisions, etc.? I know you just got a new TV. Let me know what's out there. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Whisk, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Yes, that girl. Good morning. I love that name. Good morning. Welcome back. Nancy, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. My Thanksgiving was great. Hopefully my Bears don't let me down. And Lambo Rolls, we're shopping for exhaust systems today. Give me 1 second. So it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Ain't nobody bringing us down. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Felicia, good morning. Welcome back. Will you make it through the morning? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. That much I can guarantee you. Angelito, good morning. Welcome back. Habeen, good morning. Jordan Love owns the NFC North. Well, he's in second place. So until he can get back in first place, that is a factually incorrect statement. Although he did, I will admit, despite being a Bears fan and really disliking the Packers, Jordan Love actually played really, really well yesterday. And I feel like they needed that to win. And that's what you got. So congrats. Futures Kevin, good morning. The CME has been down since last night, but we're not down. Don't forget that. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, good morning. Welcome back. Harvey, good morning. Welcome back. Uncle Dracula from Transylvania checking in the house. Absolutely love it. How's the blood doing today? Robot, good morning. Welcome back. The Judge, I know we beat your Giants earlier, and I'm sorry about that. But now that they're not playing the Giants, I could use some positivity into the universe from our Mr. Judge. Good morning. Welcome. Let's see, who else am I missing here? Super Sam, good morning. Daytrader says, sorry, Ryan, I haven't found anything interesting except for AR glasses, but I'm not sure I'm getting anything cool this year if I'm not blown away. That's kind of why I was asking. I'm wondering what some of the tech deals are going to be like. I'm wondering how some of these Meta glasses sell, and if we're going to have like stories about wearables picking up and things like that. I'm not doing that personally, but I will say, like, some of the performance car parts that I'm looking at, like a lot of those sites have actual good deals. And I wasn't sure they were even going to have them. So I actually already bought wheel spacers here. I'm looking at an exhaust system when we get off here. So, I mean, there are deals out there. And actually, I was watching CNBC this morning. They were saying that foot traffic is good in the malls already, even though it's very, very early. There seems to be some demand here for this. Now, we'll wait and see if we get any other numbers throughout the course of the day here. But so far, so good. Appreciate it, though, on some of those tech products. John, good morning. Ed, good morning. Captain 47, good morning. Okay. Let's go ahead. You know what? Let me actually blow my nose, producer, before we get started with this segment so I can make it through the segment. I'm going to mute. 1 sec. I did indulge in some wine yesterday, and I think that that's making my nose run a little bit today, but I'm going to do my absolute best to spare all of you from that here. All right, let's get started with the stock market today. Okay, the futures are, actually, we don't know because the CME is out and the futures are not working. And in fact, I'm looking in my broker right now. Futures are not moving. So those products still down. That includes S&P, NASDAQ, oil, and such. We are getting a reading here from the tradable ETFs. Those look like they're operating without issue. So we are able to guess that things are up here this morning. SPY closed at 679.68 on Wednesday. And in the pre-market here, the SPY ETF is at 681.81. So we are trading up here. If I look across the way here, it looks like they all are kind of trading a little bit up. But again, no futures here. We have to rely on the Dow QQQ, the DIA, the QQQ, and the SPY tradable tickers to determine where the futures are pointing. Now, let's take a look at some cues from that Wednesday session. Utilities, information technology, and material stocks led the gains on Wednesday, while communication services and healthcare bucked the trend to close lower. U.S. stock futures halted trading on Friday amid a data center glitch. We'll cover that in a little bit more detail here in a sec. after Wednesday's advances. However, the benchmark index tracking ETFs were trading higher, as just mentioned. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or CME, halted trading on Friday due to the data center glitch. It's also impacted trade in U.S. Treasuries and U.S. crude oil. After the stocks gained for the fourth straight session ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday, markets will be open until 1 p.m. Eastern today on Black Friday. President Trump suggested utilizing tariff revenues to provide relief for low and middle income taxpayers. During a Thanksgiving video call with service members, he stated that, quote, over the next couple of years, the U.S. will be substantially cutting or even completely eliminating the federal income tax. The S&P 500 SPY and Qs, which track the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ respectively, were higher in the pre-market. We'll see if that holds. We do have some stocks in focus here today. And for all you pot players, get excited because the first one on the list here is Tilray, ticker TLRY. Tumbled 14.93% in the pre-market after it announced a 1-for-10 reverse stock split. Now, I know there's a lot of attempts to try and trade the pot market here. Generally speaking, reverse stock splits are not good for stocks. You quality stocks split, let's call them non-quality stocks reverse split. However, it will be interesting to see how this stock trades after the reverse split. There might be some short-term opportunity with that. The next stock on our list here is Direct Digital. This is ticker DRCT. That dropped 12.06% after it filed a Form 8K with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday, revealing it reached a settlement agreement last week with Continuation Capital. And under the settlement, Direct Digital will issue up to 50 million Class A common shares to Constitution Capital. So it looks like you're getting a little bit of dilution there via that agreement, and stock is trading down on the back of that. Now, the next stock on our list, definitely one folks are going to be looking at here today. This is SMX, Security Matters. We talked about this earlier this week. SMX surged 74.43% after it presented its molecular identity technology at the DMCC Precious Metals Conference in Dubai on November 24th through the 25th. So SMX trading up here today. It is up big and holding on to those gains thus far here this morning. We'll see where that ends up closing up. In fact, in the pre-market here, it's had multiple big volume spikes, and it is going to be in play here today. The next stock on our list is going to be Walmart, ticker WMT. No surprise that that is going to be a stock in focus on Black Friday. That rose 0.31% on Black Friday as it promised discounts and exclusive offers this holiday shopping season. The retailer aims to offer an enhanced shopping experience both online and in stores with early access for Walmart Plus members. Anecdotally speaking, I've seen a lot of commercials for Walmart's Black Friday sales. They're touting everything from electronics, TVs to apparel, and all of that. So it looks like Walmart is trying to hit this shopping holiday, if you will, dead on. The last stock on our list here in focus is Apple, ticker AAPL, which was up 0.36% on Black Friday with its promotions and discounts running from November 29th to December 2nd, offering customers gift cards with the purchase of eligible products instead of direct discounts. So this is interesting. Instead of getting a discount, you get a gift card. Maybe that will help with accessory purchases like AirPods or otherwise. That should actually help Apple. We'll see if that's enough to entice consumers to open their wallet. All right, let's get set up with the SPY chart next. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. Here is what we are looking at. Now, when we left you on Wednesday, we talked about how this is really trading up towards the trend line and giddy up. That is exactly where we are at. Now, you can see with the pre-market action here today, it does appear as if we moved through this trend line. Realistically, what we want here is this candle for the half session today to close above this trend line. Better still, if we get a closing candle on a full session on Monday, I think next then we can attack some of those all-time highs if we don't end up attacking them here today. But nice to see us move above the trend line. We're still above the 20, we're still above the 50, and we're still above both of the previous all-time high breakout levels. Now, albeit we did trade on low volume on Wednesday, and we are expecting low volume today for the half session with the CME being down and the futures being down. who knows how that's going to complicate things. The one side note here is that this is actually important for those that want to roll contracts over to the next futures contracts over to the next cycle. Now, I don't do that, so it's not going to affect me directly. I've never done that before, so I'm not really sure how much of a problem that's going to make for these traders, institutions, or funds, but that is something that's going on and something that we should consider here today. Okay, let's go back into the thing here, or the breakdown here, and take a look at some insights from analysts. Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, advises investors to look beyond the alarmist headlines regarding record U.S. consumer debt levels. While acknowledging that total consumer debt has reached $18.6 trillion, Wren argues that it's crucial to look under the hood rather than viewing these absolute numbers in a vacuum. He points out that the ratio of household debt to disposable income is currently just below 90%, which is near a 25-year low and significantly healthier than the 135% seen just before the great financial crisis. However, Wren describes the current consumer landscape as bifurcated. While high-wage earners continue to spend, lower-income consumers are struggling because their wages have not kept pace with inflation. Consequently, his team maintains an unfavorable rating on the consumer discretionary sector. And despite these mixed signals, his long-term outlook remains optimistic. Wren projects the economy will be improving as we move through 2026, driven by major catalysts such as artificial intelligence-related capex and deregulation, along with a boost in spending from tax refunds next spring. We already talked about how the administration is looking to ease more of those tax burdens, starting with lower and middle income folk. All right, next, let's talk about what's going on with the CME here. Just wild, wild stuff. Did not have this on my bingo card at all when I woke up this morning, and was surprised to see this. Now, I will say, despite all of this, everything else that I can observe looks to be fairly orderly. So fingers crossed, it's my hope that this doesn't actually create some huge unforeseen problem later today, but stranger things have happened before. What happened? A significant technical outage has paralyzed trading operations at the CME Group, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, one of the world's leading derivative marketplaces. As reported by Reuters, the exchange operator was forced to halt activities across its foreign exchange commodities, treasuries, and equity futures platform on Friday following a physical infrastructure failure at a third-party facility. The disruption stems from a critical cooling system malfunction at the XIII data centers, which houses essential infrastructure for the exchange. CME released a statement confirming the, quote, cooling issue and end quote, and assured clients that technical support teams are actively working to resolve the situation in the near term. The exchange promised to provide pre-open details as soon as the systems are stabilized. XIII, a Dallas-based operator of over 55 data centers globally, had not issued a comment at the time of the Reuters report. Now, what markets are exactly affected? The halt, which traders reported began around 3 in the morning GMT time, is extensive. It affects all futures and option contracts on the Globex platform. LSEG data indicates the price updates have ceased for major global benchmarks, including West Texas Intermediate or WTI crude, U.S. Treasury futures, S&P 500 futures, and palm oil and gold. Additionally, the EBS foreign exchange platform, a vital hub for trading heavily traded currency pairs like the euro dollar or the dollar yen, is currently offline, though traders indicated they were able to execute trades on alternative venues. So again, when I was mentioning that this is orderly, it doesn't look like this. There's definitely an outage, and there's definitely some tailwinds from it, but it doesn't look like it's really spreading to everything else and causing crazy confusion. There even seems to be a workaround for some of these folks. Let me blow my nose again. One second. Holiday schedule's got me, folks. It's got me. All right, now the timing adds complexity to an already unusual trading day. With U.S. markets returning for a shortened session following the Thanksgiving holiday, liquidity was expected to be thin. However, the outage has frustrated those attempting to manage positions. Tony Sycamore, a market analyst at IG, told Reuters that, well, it's been a slow day in Asia. The outage is unhelpful given the interest to transact at the end of what has been a volatile month. So again, hopefully this doesn't spread and become worse. If it stays the way it is or has been so far this morning, I think we'll probably be okay and we'll probably not be affected. I know for you futures traders out there, you're absolutely affected. But the hope here, at least so far, is that this does not spread to anything else. And again, the early indications are that that's okay. Now, some more news here that you probably didn't hear. Taiwan Semiconductor's ex-VP home is raided. The chip giant alleges an Intel recruit leaked trade secrets. This is no bueno. On Thursday, Taiwan prosecutors searched the homes of a former Taiwan Semiconductor vice president after the chip maker accused him of passing confidential information to Intel. The Taiwan prosecutors' intellectual property branch raided 2 residents linked to Wei Zhen Lo, a former TSMC executive who joined Intel in October, per a Reuters report. Prosecutors said they also seized computers, USB drives, and other storage devices as potential evidence. Authorities said Lo is suspected of violating Taiwan's National Security Act, which protects strategically important technologies. A court also approved a request to freeze his shares and real estate holdings as the probe continues. TSMC said earlier this week it filed a lawsuit determining that there was a high probability Lo used or disclosed its trade secrets, including sensitive details tied to its 5 nanometer, 3 nanometer, and 2 nanometer manufacturing process. The company said legal action became necessary because the potential transfer of confidential information to Intel. Lo spent 21 years at Taiwan Semiconductor, where he played a key role in the mass production of its most advanced nodes. Before joining the company in 2004, he spent 18 years at Intel. How about that? Rejected TSMC's claims, saying that it has no reason to believe the accusations have merit based on the internal review. The company also stressed that employee movement between chip makers is common and healthy industry practice. Intel and TSMC did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comments. I will, of course, update you if we get any update from the companies on the story. This probe unfolds as Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan steers the company's turnaround by sharpening its engineering priorities, accelerating AI development, and rebuilding its foundry operations to catch up with TSMC, which still leads advanced chip production for NVIDIA and Apple. So pretty big story there. Man, oh man. We'll see how this one all shakes out here. Now, it would not be a morning if we did not have a story about AI and the potential catastrophic market conditions it could lead to. The United States economy is now dependent on a historic surge in artificial intelligence investment to stay afloat, according to recent market analysis. New data reveals that without the massive capital infusion to AI infrastructure, the U.S. would currently be in an economic recession. The analysis by the Kobesi letter, utilizing data from Bank of America's global research, highlights that AI-related spending was the dominant force between the nation's economic performance in the first 6 months of 2025. AI spending contributed 62.5%, or a full percentage point, to the 1.6% U.S. GDP growth during that period. Quote, without AI, the U.S. would be in a recession, end quote. But there is AI. There is. This economic reliance is driven by what analysts are calling historic levels of tech spending. According to data from top-down charts and LSEG, technology and related stocks now comprise a record-breaking 45% of S&P 500 capital expenditure. The figure has risen nearly 20 percentage points in the last decade, surpassing the peak of approximately 39% seen during the 2000 dot-com bubble. The chart illustrates a stark divergence between the new economy and traditional sectors. We talk about that on a regular basis. While real private non-residential fixed investment data centers has soared nearly 300% over the past 3 years, inflation-adjusted investment in traditional structures such as offices, hotels, warehouse, and factories has remained almost flat. For anyone that wants to go through this, the Kobisi letter does really great research. They produce great infographics as well. They're definitely a good follow, by the way, not affiliated with Benzinga, but still a good follow. If you want to go through the story and any of the related or linked tweets, they're in there in the chat for you. Meanwhile, as tech spending goes through the roof, the capital expenditure rate for commodity sectors in the S&P 500 has halved since 2015 to just 15%. According to Kobisi's post, hovering near its lowest recorded levels in the past 45 years. Peter Anderson, CIO of Anderson Capital Management, has warned of massive overbuilding amid questionable demand, noting that major tools like ChatGPT are not locking up from overuse. However, Futurum equity strategist Shea Ballure argues the cycle differs from the dot-com bubble, contrasting the idle fiber optics of 1999 with today's 80% GPU utilization. So he goes on to say here that this is why the AI cycle is nothing like the dot-com era. These are comparisons that we hear all of the time. This person's refuting that, and he's citing that the early 2000s fiber ran at about 7% utilization because the industry actually just built far ahead of the demand that actually never showed up. The physical layers scaled faster than the software, but this time around, we're actually seeing the inverse. NVIDIA clusters inside Microsoft. So I don't know how this is all going to shake out here. A lot of the, really experienced, smart people that I've talked to, while they acknowledge that there are definitely some similarities, it really doesn't feel the same at the end of the day. Now, again, I'm not sure how this is all going to shake out, but there you go. All right. Let's see. Next here, Daytrader says we need a ton more data centers for nationwide self-driving cars and autonomous robots. That's a really good point. There's still going to be more demand. There's still going to be more utilization. From where I sit right now, I definitely don't buy that this is a repeat of the dot-com bubble. Again, if I'm wrong, I'll take my lumps and I'll do whatever I have to do. But I just don't see that. I just don't see that here. Okay. Next story here is about rate cuts. And I guess you could call what we're currently in the Williams rally, right? We really started to rally after we got Fed Williams comments. Now it looks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are capitulating there. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs have realigned their interest rate outlooks, now forecasting that the Federal Reserve will deliver a quarter-point cut at its December 9th and 10th meeting. JP Morgan, revising its earlier prediction of a pause until January, cited recent comments from central bank officials as the primary driver for the shift. Quote, "We now believe that the latest round of Fed speak tilts the odds towards the committee deciding to cut rates in 2 weeks," end quote. That was the chief U.S. economist Michael Feroli, according to Reuters. The bank had previously withdrawn its December forecast following volatility in September's jobs data, but now has shifted back its outlook. Goldman Sachs concurred in a separate note, stating that with no major data releases scheduled before the meeting, the major employment reports may have sealed the 25 basis point cut. The Wall Street pivot aligns with recent signals from New York Fed President John Williams. Speaking in Chile, Williams characterized current monetary policy as modestly restrictive and states he sees room for further adjustment in the near term to move policy towards a neutral stance. Williams noted that while inflation progress has temporarily stalled around 2.75%, the labor market has cooled to pre-pandemic levels. Quote, "Downside risks to employment have increased while the upside risks to inflation have lessened somewhat," end quote. He also estimated that recent tariffs contributed up to 0.75 percentage points to the current inflation rate, but maintained that underlying inflation is trending downward, something you don't hear very often with all the people whose hair is on fire. Market sentiment has surged to match those forecasts, with traders now pricing in nearly 84.7% chance of a cut. I also checked the Fed CME Watch tool today to see if that was updated. It is exactly as it was on Wednesday at that 84.7 level mentioned here in the article. Part of me wonders if the CME outage is also affecting that tool. I would imagine it is, even though it wasn't directly listed in the article that we had covering that. We'll see if that changes here today, if and when that changes here today. This consensus comes despite reports of internal friction, with Fed governors Stephen Mirren reportedly pushing for aggressive easing while signaling he would support a standard cut to avoid inflicting real harm on the economy. Following the Thanksgiving holiday, the futures of Dow Jones, S&P, and Nasdaq indices were trading higher at the beginning of the half day of trading today. Okay, now we are going to go to a Jim Cramer call. I already told you he is bullish on today's market, and he's bullish on his Eagles. Ultra CME stands for the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's the trading floor that trades the most of the derivative market. Hang on, let me blow my nose one more time. I'm sorry about all of this, but the show must go on. I wish I didn't have to do that, but nonetheless. All right, Jim Cramer. He's calling Boeing's bottom. You know what we should do? Let's actually start with the chart. Let's start with the chart. We get a visual image of what the Boeing chart looks like, and then we can make a decision on whether Cramer's call is correct. So here we go. Here's a daily chart. I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit here so we can see what's going on. The trend line that we are about to interact with or have recently interacted with is one that originated before COVID. So this is going to be the March of 2019. You can see that this actually connects to one of the peaks that makes this kind of double top or double top-ish formation that ran between 2021 and 2024. And it actually, we broke beneath this trend line, and now it looks like we might be trying to recapture that. First, we have the 500-day in the way. That's at 189.88. Current price here of Boeing in the pre-market, 187.64. That is definitely a key level that should be in play here today. The other thing that you'll notice from the chart going all the way back to COVID is that we've made a series of higher lows here. And most recently, if this low does hold in there, that actually kind of makes this chart looks like this wants to trade back up. I would imagine that if we make another attempt at this trend line here, it's probably going to be out here maybe next year, at some point next year. I would imagine that we probably take that out if all other things are held true here. So judging by looking at the chart here, I can see what he's saying about this, but let's take a look at what his actual call is. Boeing finally strung together a green day on Wednesday, and Jim Cramer jumped in with a big, bold call. Quote, "I am really starting to lean on Boeing for a monstrous 2026, end quote. Here's the tweet itself. If any of you want this, let me throw this in the chat as well. But after a month-long 18% skid that left the stock bruised and sentiment fractured, traders are split. Was this a real inflection point or just a defense-fueled head fake? And I think that's the big thing folks are trying to figure out here. The spark was clear. Boeing secured more than $7 billion in new U.S. defense deals, the most decisive positive news the stock has seen in weeks. A $4.7 billion AH-64E Apache contract includes 96 helicopters for Poland, extending production in Mesa, Arizona into the next decade. A separate $2.47 billion award for the 15 KC-46A Pegasus tankers runs deliveries through 2029, offering a rare supply chain stability after years of turbulence. That backlog visibility is exactly what Boeing bulls have been waiting for. Predictable revenue that doesn't rely on commercial jet timing or certification drama. Technically, Boeing is sitting below every major moving average. They're listed here. The 50 and the 200 are the primary ones listed here. And the RSI is at 36.77 on the verge of being oversold. And even purist traders see room for a reflex rally. With shares sitting closer to 52-week lows than the 52-week highs, dip hunters have begun circling for asymmetry. The win streak hit turbulence when NASA reduced Boeing's Starliner crew missions from 6 to 4, pushing the next launch to cargo only in April of 2026, following thruster issues that forced a reliance on SpaceX to return astronauts. Contract value sits near $3.73 billion, highlighting reputational and financial drag. So the trade now, defense is the engine, space is the anchor, and commercial is the wild card. Cramer might be betting on a monstrous 2026, but the market still wants proof this bounce is something more than Pentagon adrenaline. I like that as a quote there in the story. I think that was well done. And that Boeing can climb back above its own moving averages before the bulls declare victory. And I think that's very prudent. I think that's very right. Here we are. So I had talked about the 500-day. We have a very steeply pitched down 20-day showing the sell-off from these recent highs that were up near 240. It looks like we're trying to kind of hang on this area. Boeing is kind of bouncing off of this previous area that it found resistance in. I know it's not super clean, but that's still clearly what's going on here. We've got, if we take out the 50 and the 20, which are basically sitting on top of each other, not even 2 points apart, that puts the 50 and the 200 in play here. Now, the big thing, and at 13, I think the last time somebody asked us about Boeing, I think 13 talked about this. We do have what looks like an impending death cross. So we do have the 50 pitched down and looks like it's going to move through the 200 to the downside. That would definitely be no good. And if the price is actually beneath that, that would be worse still. However, a couple of things to keep in mind here. These signals become less actionable when these moving averages are volatile, that is, swinging back and forth. So you can see we actually had what looked like a hold here and then a golden cross. This was back in May. We actually did have a golden cross in February. So take it with a grain of salt. I do think Boeing is absolutely worth watching. Looks like the futures are open. Okay. I do think Boeing is worth watching, especially over the next several months, really through the first quarter of 2026. And the way the chart is set up here, you actually have a lot to kind of use as mile markers for your trade. If we're able to fend off a death cross, we're able to get above some of these moving averages as well as taking out these trend lines. All of that bodes well for Boeing here. And like the story outlined, you got a big backlog and a big constant revenue stream that doesn't even rely on commercial jets, that it's going to go on for the next 10 years. That could definitely be very good for the stock. So we'll see. We'll see if Cramer's right. So far, we have Cramer making 3 calls that we need to pay attention to here today. He thinks that today is going to be a good day for the bulls, which means he thinks the market is going to be up. And that is somewhat has to do with Black Friday sales, the whole 9 yards. He thinks that the Bears are going to lose to the Eagles. So hopefully he's wrong and he can stuff that. And he also thinks that Boeing has put in its bottom and is likely to accelerate in 2026. All right. And there's producer. You know what, producer? That's such a good looking graphic. We might just have to leave that there all show. I feel like that might be the move here. Okay. Let me see what else I can do here real fast. Get wrecked, Kramer. Go Bears. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Thank you, Big Bees. It does look like up here. Got rid of this. Boop. Okay, it does look like the futures are back online here. S&P futures are indeed up 0.21% here. Okay, thank you. Brokotech EU, Brokotech US activities, and EBS are open for trading. Futures and options markets will open at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. That is per the CME Group on X. That is awesome. It is 7:38 confirmed. That is open and correct. S&P futures up 0.22%. Dow futures up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ futures leading the way higher, 0.34% to the upside. Bear down, Matthew. Let's go. Okay. Let's go Bears. Appreciate you, Izzy. Appreciate you. All right. So that was all the news that I needed to do, or I needed to go through. It's 8:38 here. So we're doing pretty good. We're pretty good on time. I think we should probably do chart time. I'll get 13 on as soon as he's available. No Mark Petrino today as he deals with a post holiday issue. He's fine, but he won't be joining us here today. So why don't we just go over some charts? I did see Neville threw out BABA there. I suppose we can start with that, but I probably should blow my nose one more time. And again, I'm sorry about this. This is why your boy doesn't drink booze during the week, because I need to be up very early and feeling nice and rosy for the day. And it looks like the wine has kind of set me back a little bit there. Ed, you want to take a look at Visa? I actually think that's a great chart to look at during Black Friday and all of that. I just rolled through sectors. Today is going to be a good day, says Bourne. If Bourne says it's going to be a good day, that's good enough for me. I'm all for it, Bourne. Let's absolutely get that done. Okay, here's a look on BABA. One of the things I'm going to do here, Neville, is I'm actually going to extend this so that the Fibonacci levels cover the recent price action, because the last time that I drew this fib chart, we didn't have this data. Let me go ahead and extend this here a little bit, though. I want to make sure I keep my anchor point the same so that we don't obstruct the data here. There we go. All right. Baba's chart. I don't know. You know what else I'm going to do here, actually, is I'm going to extend this trend line out, too, because it looks like that is coming into play again. Well, what do you know? Sure is. Okay. So Baba, this, I've mentioned it a whole bunch of times. I really don't like China stocks. I don't hold them. But I will say of all of them, Baba is without a doubt the best and probably the safest, knock on wood. You always accept risk when owning Chinese stocks. Looking at the chart here, we are above the 100-day, and we are actually above the 1.68 fib level. Now, this fib was an extension tool, so we basically were trading the move up and then the move back down to the lows and then drawing levels off of that. This has obeyed it very, very well so far. Actually, it looks like it's really kind of found some support here at this 153-ish area. Today, we're down 1.55% in the pre-market. This is what it looks like. So far, Baba's kind of rolling over. Maybe it ends up testing this value again. On Wednesday, we had a sell-off here on Baba. I actually can't remember what that's for. I'm sorry. And it does look like it kind of bounced off of this fib level. I would say immediately here at 155.18, we'd be looking for a move back down towards that 152.5 spot. See if it holds this again. To me, in the pre-market here, with all things removed, it sure looks like this is trying to retest this area where it fell out on Wednesday. Let me take a look and see if there was any news here that I'm unaware of. Google's Baidu begins hitting layoffs after multiple units after a brutal Q3. Okay, so that's more about Baidu than it is for Baba, I believe. But maybe Baba trading down in sympathy with that. I think that's probably what it is, Neville. So the big thing for me right here, does this area hold? Does the low from Wednesday hold? If not, we'd probably be looking at this 150 or 149.5 low. This was from Friday of last week. So a week ago. So those two levels to the downside here, if either of those holds, perhaps you have a bounce trade on this. But again, if we go back to the daily, this is going to be really important. If we hold here, this pullback, maybe this actually starts the next leg up, and we can figure out if that is in fact what happens. We can figure out where some of the next levels are going to be if it keeps moving in that direction. All right, let's bring 13 on and see how he's doing. 13, happy Victory Friday for you.
That's right.
I'm just gonna put you on the spot here. I saw pictures of 13's fried turkey, and I can say a couple of things. Number one, he did not cook it in his house. He made it back here, so there were no house fires or explosions or any of that silly crap that goes on Thanksgiving sometimes. But perhaps more importantly, 13, it looked like that was perfectly cooked. That was incredible from start to finish. How big was the bird?
This is just shy of 21 pounds.
Oh, that was a big one. That feeds family. Mine was 13, and it came out perfect. But really good stuff. How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, I had a great time. Woke up, just had coffee. It's just me and the boys right now because my wife is with my father-in-law. She had a business trip, so he went with her. They're celebrating Thanksgiving together. I'm here with my boys. We had a Thanksgiving to ourselves. They were dealing with the sides. I was dealing with the turkey. It was a great time. We watched football. A lot of back and forth between my son and I when we were watching that Packers game. There was even a point when I looked over at my son and I said to him, "If they score on this drive, the Detroit Lions fans are going to be super mad." And I think you know which play I'm talking about. The one where they said that they called a timeout before the the penalty. Even I had a hard time understanding, how that went down. But apparently, he said that he was saying timeout before the penalty. So anyway, That was a lot of fun. Glad we got that victory. Great turkey, great time. Hope everybody had a wonderful turkey day as well.
Matt LaFleur's comments after the game said everything you needed to know about that interaction. He did not elaborate. He said it was the right call and then had a shit-eating grin on his face for the rest of the interview. So that told you everything that you needed to know. Okay, 13. Good to hear that you had a great Thanksgiving. Has your Black Friday started at all? I've already placed an order, and I might be placing another one here right when we're done.
No, actually, for me, after I'm done here on the show, I'm going to be taking down all of the fall decorations and starting to put up Christmas ones.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
That's what my boys wanted to do. They wanted to get the house all ready so that when my wife returns, it looks all Christmassy like she likes.
You are raising those boys right, 13. That is awesome. Tell them that Uncle Ryan gives all of them bonus points.
You got it.
Bang.
Will.
We are off to a great Friday here so far. Okay, 13, do you want to take a look at, do you want to just get the movers out of the way? Do you want to look at any charts in particular?
There's not a whole lot to look at.
No, there isn't. I think we're going to have a pretty big ticker time here today without Mark Petrino and with the movers being small. So
yeah, I just looked at a couple of movers and I was like, you know what? There's no Mark today. Let me just come on here and we'll figure it out as we go.
Okay,
Zach, it's my father-in-law, not my dad. My her dad is with her, just so we're clear.
Okay, I don't know what you're clearing up there. It was pretty clear to me.
My father-in-law and my wife are, she went on a business trip and he's with her.
Okay. Let's see here real quick. I was just going back here looking for something. Okay. All right, let's do these movers. Let's get them done. Let's flip over to the movers tab here. First one is going to be SMX. Now, I unfortunately, because of what I chose to say on Friday, and because I'm the opposite of the people in politics, I have to do a mea culpa here. Because I had said, or not Friday, excuse me, Wednesday, the synthetic Friday. I had said on Wednesday when we talked about security matters that, be careful with this one. It's low float. It's a day trader stock. It could work. It could make a lot of money. It could do all of these things, but it's not safe and it's probably not one you should hold. So what happens? Well, if you would hold it, it gapped up 90+%, making me look like a complete and damn fool. I'm still happy with what I said here because, again, I think more often than not, avoiding some of these really crappy, like volatile movers is actually going to keep you safe. In this particular case, this thing just absolutely ripped. SMX had a pretty awesome day. It was opened up at about $5.50. Closed, let's see what the closing price was. Closed at 17.40. And in the pre-market here today, it's 13.30. And it's actually up near the highs. So again, be careful with this. It is extremely extended if you can't already tell. And this is what the daily chart looks like. And it looks like this because it's been reverse split a billion times. 13, I think even you covered how many times the stock was reverse split when we talked about it last time.
It was like 4 or 5 times this year.
Yeah, look at this. This year alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times this year alone. So I maintain that you should be very careful with this. However, if you manage to trade this and hold this, today is a really good day for you. Please make sure that you take your gains or some of your gains because this is a huge move here. Congrats if you got it. Now, looking at the chart, 35.5 really seems to be the next level that it could pop to the upside. We do have some news here as well. SMX supplied the proof, and now the DMCC is rewriting the gold standard. I would have to go through this PR a little bit more to see what's going on, but it does look like by hosting SMX, the DMCC Precious Metals Conference, and by cultivating partnerships across the vaunting logistics and refining networks, Dubai is signaling a shift, is positioning itself for the most advanced and verifiable trading environment in the world, and in doing so is forcing older hubs to adjust to the rules Dubai is writing in real time. So if you buy that here, SMX a huge beneficiary of that. Stock is trading up just shy of 34 here. Again, just to review some of this, 7.91% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. This comes on an average volume of 715,000 shares. Today we've traded 4 million. Float here is just about 1 million, so it's a low float stock, which is why we're seeing some of these outsized moves. But 13, what do you think here on SMX?
doesn't have a whole lot of cash, loses millions every year. You would be forgiven if you did not expect this move that we were getting today. We covered how many times it's reverse split. I mean, this is so close to being another Mullen. You just can't fault yourself for being cautious about this. And yet here we are. This is still moving up another about 100% off of the close on Wednesday. But I think the thing that's really driving this is that this is very much in one of the themes we've discussed. You can see in one of the next next section of paragraphs, there's a global pivot towards proof. And every major region has built its reputation on the belief that products are legitimate. We've covered, several different companies that track shipments and verify that things that where they're coming from are where they say they're coming from. And we're probably going to end up seeing a lot more of this expand, especially next year. It could be a big theme next year. We're going to see a lot more of this expand, not just with identity verification of ourselves, but identity verification with our products, knowing that they are truly coming from the origin they say they come from. I think that's going to be a big thing. This is one of the companies that's going to be in that mix. So I think that's really the biggest driver for why we're seeing this movement today. That, and it's been absolutely hammered to hell. But coming off the bottom, this might be a phoenix rising from the ashes. So we'll see how high it can get.
Okay, real quickly here, Anne-Marie, good morning. It's great to see you. Where's that tab for splits again, Ryan? I would love to see that data. So again, for anyone that uses Benzinga Pro, within your details tool, you'll have a bunch of sub tabs. One of them is the calendar. The calendar has its own set of sub tabs, and one of those sub tabs is splits. And what this will do is this will list all of the splits for the stocks that you have in focus. So it makes it just very, very easy and quick to review the history here. It can be done with any of the content that's covered within the calendar subtool, whether it's splits, earnings announcements, which this company doesn't have any, or dividends, which this company doesn't have any, or any of the other sub tabs. So to answer your question, in the details tool, tab calendar, sub tab splits, that will list them all for you. Okay. Good breakdown there in SMX. We shall see how this trades here today. Look at this. Going for those pre-market and after-hour highs. It's not even waiting. It's not even waiting for the market to open. There you go. Okay, next on the list here is going to be ADTX. We've covered this one before. It's actually had an all right day on fairly low volume on Wednesday. Popped in the after hours, gave it all back, but then really kicked into gear here in the pre-market. In fact, the volume in today's pre-market session dwarfs what we have seen in the previous session here. I don't have any fresh news on this. On Wednesday, after hours there, we did get looks like this chief M&A officer sold one share at $3.20. Is that even correct? I mean, that's so absurd that I'm going to strike that from what we're talking about here. Stock looks like this is up 24% on no news here. If I take a quick peek at the short interest, I can see here that float's been adjusted recently. We still do have some short interest, but it looks kind of low. It was as high as 15% fairly recently. Days to cover of only one. On average, the stock trades 150,000 shares a day. Today, it's traded 13 million so far. Excuse me. The float reading I have here is 500,000. What do you say? 13.
So I was just trying to get some levels here on SMX. Real quick on that. If this manages to break 38, which it's doing right now, this could go on a run up to 45. There's some staircases on the way up here, but we can get back to that. ADTX. That's short interest isn't correct, is it? No, it's not. Can't be, unless they just did a reverse split. Let's see if that's the case. So I don't have anything for this one. Oh, they did. They just did. They did it earlier this month. A 1 for 113, right?
And the last time was earlier this March on my birthday, and it was a 1 for 250.
Jeez.
So no bueno, not healthy.
But this will probably move around very easily now that it has less than 1 million shares in the float. They're planning. Did the chief M&A officer really sell one share?
Like I was saying, I am not sure what to make of that, so I'm just ignoring it at the moment.
Looks like they just did their quarterly report a couple of weeks ago. Let's look at the chart because I don't really know enough about this company to really have a good opinion. It doesn't look like they have a whole lot of cash. They lose a lot of it. So should be a capital raise coming unless they announce something prior to that. Doesn't look like it, so be careful there. Seems like they're going through the compliance process, reverse splitting, raising capital, reverse splitting, raising capital, that whole thing. So let's see what the chart looks like here. Another one of these SMXs, right?
Well, I mean, this one hasn't moved 90% today, so not quite, but
not yet.
I mean, not yet.
We'll see what it ends up doing. It had a nice move on Wednesday. 19% probably was a little bit more in the regular session. 25 today in the pre-market. We have the 20-day SMA up at 471. So that would be my next target. That would be the next spot I'll be looking at for resistance.
Okay.
The upside.
Okay. Next stock on the list here is TMC. This is the metals company. This spiked in the after hours on Wednesday and retraced about 50% of the move, but it's holding steady here at 667 in the pre-market today, up 14%. I have no news on this one, so it looks like it's just kind of, well, I guess Wednesday here. This was from the morning. There was some bullish option flow. Looks like it was just some after hours shenanigans, however. And today's pre-market session actually looks like this might roll over before it does anything else. Quick peek at the short interest, 10.1% of the float shorted with 3.3 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 9.3 million shares. We are traded just about 1 million shares here today. And this one, as we've covered before, and when we've talked about the metals theme, much thicker float here, 250 million shares, 254 million. 13, what do you think here on TMC?
So the price action we've been getting lately has been pretty encouraging. It came down to its 200-day SMA, and it kind of hung out there for about a week or so, and then it started moving off of it. And then on Wednesday, we got it closed back above the 20-day SMA since testing that 200-day SMA. And that close above it has kind of led into this upward move that we're getting here, where we almost tested it looks like we almost got the 50-day SMA in the process. Now, if we do come back in, we start losing some levels here in the pre-market. Let's see, we're at about, 663. So that's going to just, okay, so that kind of puts us just shy of the 50-day SMA. I could see an open where we try to push through the 50-day SMA again and get rejected and it comes back lower. But I don't think we're going to see a loss of the 20-day SMA. I'm not sure that that's going to happen. Seems to me like support's pretty strong around 6. So if we do get some weakness, I would be looking at the $6 level as support before the 20-day SMA.
Okay, good stuff. Looks like all CME markets are open and trading, and I can confirm at least the ones that I'm looking at on my screen seem to be operating normally now. So that's good news. Okay, good stuff there, TMC. Next one on the list here is going to be KTTA. This is, again, I think I made a joke about this now being an ex-girlfriend. This was a penny stock that entered dollar territory on Wednesday, and today it looks like it's trying to break the top off here. Pop the top off. I've got it at about 134. We're trading up in the pre-market. Here we go. Actually, we might be testing it right as I give the breakdown here. We are moving away from the VWAP. There are some pretty clear levels that might mark good levels for this. I'm, of course, going to draw the trend line that connects the two high points there. That gives us a target if indeed we run some more. If we take a quick look at the news feed for KTTA here, no news. This, again, just kind of moving on the half day here. Looks like a ticker for boredom traders to just kind of play around with something. Quick peek at the short interest, 0.53% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. This comes on an average 100-day volume of just shy of 4 million shares. Today we've done almost 22 million. Float on this is 7.33 million. 13, what do you think here? And I'm actually going to step away for 1 second.
Okay, really nice recapture of the 200-day SMA and the 50-day SMA and the 20-day SMA all in one go on Wednesday. So that's a really good sign for continued upside. But we did get pretty extended in the regular session. We are now seeing a daily RSI over 74 right now. That could continue higher, but I do think we are coming up to a bit of a resistance area. That trend line that he drew that starts with the high from Wednesday's regular session, goes up through the, looks like the after hours, and kind of have it lined up to hit about, 165-ish. So if we hit that resistance, that lines up with a some price action we were getting in April, where it's the price started to turn around. It took a few days, but it's right up in there where that 165 is. So that's going to be an interesting area of resistance, as up from 165 all the way up to 180. If it manages to get through 180, then there's resistance, it looks like, up at 2, but you get into a bit of a gap area beyond 2 there. There was a single candle on February 5th that created a gap that can be filled. So something that we can look forward to there. Looks like that gap was kind of filled on May 5th, but no closes in that area. So I would still kind of lean on potential filling of the gap from about 225 to 275, 270. So that's if we can get above 165 though. All right. So that's KTTA. Still think that we're setting up pretty nicely to get up to that trend line before we open. So just watch the volume. Should be able to get that happen here. It looks like we're about to see that move potentially. Just watch for that volume to expand. It got 140. Looks like that's the next spot there. Here we go. It's starting to make its way up to that 165. I also see that there's a seller in the way of 160. That might be causing problems as well. But those are the levels I'd be watching for. Maybe $2 provides the most resistance if we can get past 165.
Okay, this waited for us to talk about it before it started to move, but here we go.
Thank you, KTTA. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. Okay, next stock on the list here, I basically only have 2 more that I wanted to mention here, and this one I think there's not a lot going on. This is ticker WAI. This is Top King Win. We've looked at this before. This is a Chinese junker here. It looks like this did spike above 4, came back in here. It's below the VWAP. Kind of low volume here. It's really morphed into selling volume. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 2.66% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.19 million. We've traded 2 million here today. Floats 1.66 million. No news driving this here. 13, do you have anything on this one? Okay, if you don't.
You know, it's interesting. If you look at what happened on October 30th, which was the last trading, I think it was the last trading day of the month. I might be wrong about that, but it was basically the end of October. We had a big move in the same stock. Again, it went up to 634 and it came right back in. And I think this is all in the pre-market or the after hours of, not during a regular session. And then that was it. It just went sideways the rest of the day. Could get something very similar here with this one, where we just, we already seen the big move here in the pre-market, and it could just go sideways for the rest of the day. And incidentally, it's at the end of the month as well. So just noticing a little bit of a pattern there.
Yeah, to me, that's seems like stay away. Well taken there. Deft, this is DeFi Technologies, ticker DEFT. This was a penny stock last week or thereabouts. It has been on a pretty good 2-day run here and was poking a little bit higher here in the pre-market. The news that we have here was from Wednesday morning, and it was regarding a venture portfolio company, Stablecorp, becoming Canada's first compliant CAD stablecoin. It's been moving since then. It is peaking a little bit here in the pre-market. 160 looks to be one of the spots. We'll see if it breaks that. I don't have any short interest reading on this. 13, do you have anything on this name?
Well, since the 25th, and maybe even a little bit earlier than that, but the 25th is where this really started its upward trajectory that it's in. Coming up to some resistance at about in the 160s. Looks like 160 is where the real thick part of it is, even though we did get a close above that particular level. We just only got one though. It looks like we're trying to get back over VWAP right now. So that's still a possibility. And this thing has been riding the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart. Has been riding it up for the past 2 trading sessions. So until that stops happening, we could continue to see some more upside. Now, I will say that I can look at my price ladder right now. I see a massive seller in the way at 162. Don't know if we're going to see that get taken down or get chewed through or what, but it's entirely possible. And I think that the thing that we just want to pay attention to is what happens with the 65 EMA, because on the 5-minute, because that has been the strongest support that this price action has had since the 25th.
Okay, good stuff there. DEFT. Last one here is MBOT. This is Microbot Medical. This actually had a really good move on Wednesday. It had moved in the pre-market, gave you an opportunity to buy it, then took the highs out and closed strong here in the pre-market again. This is a little bit higher. It looks like it ran into some 260 resistance here. Pulled back a little bit. Now, MBOT, I think, Izzy, you were saying this has got a price target, right? Yeah. H.C. Wainwright a buy and a $12 target. Now, be careful with those Wainwright price targets, but it is worth mentioning it had legit news there on Wednesday, and it's getting that price target here today. And it is higher by 8.73%. So it is in play here today. This is what the MBOT chart looks like. Quick peek at the short interest, 6.52% of the float shorted with 1.73 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 4.14 million shares. Today it's done 1 million shares, and this is against a float of 66.5 million. 13, what do you think here on MBOT?
I think that 65 VMA is getting tested pretty soon. This is another one that's relied on that particular moving average for this upward trajectory that it's been getting. Wednesday didn't even barely touch it after the pre-market. It just kind of kept ripping. Same thing today. No, it hasn't really touched the 65 VMA since the pre-market of Wednesday. So falling through the 65 EMA is going to be of particular note. And I think if it does that, there still could be some trades, but I think it's going to start moving more towards the downside if we do that. So just another thing to watch for. We're in the we're underneath the view app right now, trying to find our footing here. So we'll see if it can recapture it. But that 260, that's going to be the resistance right now. And the support's going to be the 65 EMA. So which one breaks first? Don't know, but I think that'll give us our direction once it does.
Okay. Good stuff there. That's it for the movers here. I did want to mention SMX here. This did pull. Someone had mentioned earlier here, it dumped. It did dump, but it dumped right to the VWAP. So that should have been pretty obvious, frankly. Now, when we were talking about this breaking 35, it is worth mentioning that it went from 35 to 40 before doing this. But it did come back into the VWAP here. All right, 13, what else do you want to look at here today? We've got 24 minutes before we even open here, and I'm struggling with a nose that is just extremely annoying today. What is it that you want to look at?
Whatever the chat wants to look at, whatever they would like us to, the chart. I mean, we can start with some of the larger names if you want.
Neville wanted to take a look at Hood. I see that one in the chart here. Hood's had a pretty decent move off the support area that we derived from the gap. It looks like the top end of that range was about 111. We're above the 20-day here, but we are shy of the 50. I tell you what, if we take that 50 out, that'd be pretty good. Looking at a trend line here, that would represent a next target above. What do you got, 13?
Well, if you start with, let's say, okay, so the April 7th, the Liberation Day unwind, start there, draw a trend line from there up through the low of September 5th. And I think you'll be particularly tickled about where that place is.
I'm sorry, can you do that again?
So the April 7th, the bottom from Liberation Day unwind through September 5th.
Yep. September 5th, right here. No.
It's the
right
one
here. Got it.
Yeah. There you go. So that kind of lines up really nicely with where the 50-day SMA is, and it also provides a bit of a resistance area. As this is a rising wedge that this was trading in, and we've lost it, so we're back testing that. Good possibility that we've come back into it, but I think that if we cannot get above that 50-day SMA, they're going to get a clean rejection off this trend line. We're going to start to head south. So that would be what I'd be watching for. Is what happens with the 50-day SMA and the price. And right now, that's at 132.65.
All right, there you go on Hood. Let's see what else do we have here. H&H Tactical UTHR. The hell is that? United Therapeutics. I don't even know if I've ever looked at this. What a chart this thing has. Looks like it's recently broken out. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this one, so I'm going to have to kind of go through this. Specializes in drug development for pulmonary arterial hypertension, or PAH, a rare progressive disease marked by abnormally high blood pressure. Okay, so that they must have something that's working here, right? Their drug or therapeutic must be really, really good. To me, this looks a little overbought at the moment. This looks a little extended at the moment. I would absolutely not be initiating any new position here that wasn't like a scalp or a short or like a very short-term trade. Instead, this thing really needs to pull back. I don't know if you're going to get a pullback here. This 375 area, obviously very clear resistance that we gapped above, back tested the eye. This would have made a great floating island trade back here in September, end of August, beginning of September. It's kept marching higher here from there. I don't really have much else. This, to me, I'd be kind of waiting. 5.2% of the float shorted, 2.6 days to cover. It trades just about 1 million shares. It's done nothing here in the pre-market. It's literally traded 12 shares. So extremely low vibe. I don't really have much for you on this one. I would just kind of wait to chart out on this if you don't already own it.
This company kind of kicks ass, it looks like. Their balance sheet is great. Their income is great. I mean, this looks pretty good. I don't know exactly what they everything about this company. It looks like they have at least 5 or 6 drugs that they're selling and marketing, but the fundamentals look pretty good with this one.
Okay, Anne-Marie's saying that this is a great company, but she does say that the seasonality is stronger into the spring.
When they report their earnings from the cold season, maybe?
That is definitely good information to know. Thank you, Anne-Marie.
I appreciate that. And yeah, I agree. This looks like a great company. Float's not too big, 32, a little more than 32 million shares, but their income and their balance sheet, this looks great.
There's a partnership between UTHR and TEM.
Okay.
Actually, that bodes well for TEM too, Kathy, because if this is a really, really good company that seems to be knocking the cover off of the ball, I would think that that's a positive catalyst for TEM as well. Very well run. Just looking at the stock chart here, Anne-Marie, that looks true. It absolutely looks like the truth.
You just got to look at their income statements and their balance sheet, and you're just like, wow, this is really well run. I agree. Absolutely. So good company. Do they even pay a dividend? No, unfortunately not. But man, they are heavily owned.
Okay. Good one there. UTHR, not one I've ever heard of. Good company, but okay. So you seem like you really like it. You buying it today?
Nope.
Okay, well, that was what I was trying to say earlier there. So
no. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is like trading up into, maybe this is a broadening wedge, but this is been. I don't want to buy this into this kind of strength. This is like really, really strong, and this is not the kind of time to buy. You had your opportunity back in 2020 when it took a nice dip down at 101. Since then, it's been on fire.
Okay, good stuff there. All right, next here, Lulu was another one mentioned, and on Black Friday, that's probably a good one to take a look at. Lulu up 1% here in the pre-market. Here's what the chart looks like. Chart starts to look better and better. Now it sure looks like we're testing the 100-day moving average there at 185 3/4. If we break above that, maybe we fill the gap up to 200. Hang on, let me kick the spammer out of here. Sorry about that. Blocked.
Yeah, I like that.
Get out of here. Get out of here spamming about Fig. Get the hell out of here. All right, now with Lulu here, let's see if we can break above that 100, maybe close that gap up to 200. We are in pretty good seasonality here for Lulu. It is approaching overbought. What were you about to say there before I ran you over?
Well, I was saying I like, you're talking about 200 as the spot. It looks good to me. We just got to get over this October 27th open. This 186 to 180. This is about just shy of 187. So let's clear 187 today in Lulu, and if we can do that, then we're continuing to fill the gap all the way up to the $200 range. So that's, I think, all anybody wants to see is just get above 187 and let's fill this gap.
Okay. Good stuff there on Lulu. Sorry, I have to send a message here to a teammate.
So I'll put on youth. I mean, with the way it's run, it's a great company, but I mean, it's just been super extended. So it seems to me like, put a short-term put would be. Well,
Anne-Marie here, I appreciate this. Gamma flow remains largely positive across the markets. More than 20% of all options open in the market expire today, but dip buying looks solid for the next 10 trading days. That's good. Good insight there, Anne-Marie. Appreciate it.
All right. That sounds good to me. So then we got the monthly inflows on Monday because we'll be in December.
Yep.
So that certainly could help us get a lift here. So you're saying the next 10 days. Now, that's interesting because that leads us up into the rate decision. So what are you saying, that the rate decision is going to disappoint? Sorry if I have put you on the spot there. I'm just kind of curious about the timing there because it's interesting you say the next 10 days and then we have the rate decision. So I just wonder if there's a little either uncertainty or bearishness when it comes to that print. Exactly. Okay.
That's interesting. That you know what? That's exactly not okay, Anne Marie. You're sending mixed signals right
Oh,
now.
yeah, you got to confuse.
Really quickly here, there's been Goldman and Bank of America adjusted their outlook, saying that there is going to be a cut, and they were both previously saying, "I don't really know." They're holding off positioning into that number, so that means uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Because I think we talked a lot about
Take care of yourself, Trump. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Yep. Take care, Trout. I haven't, we were talking about the yen carry trade and how if we raise rates, or I'm sorry, cut rates too aggressively, while Japan's talking about raising their rates, that could accelerate the yen carry trade unwind. And that's not something we want to have happen. If anything, we want to have it be systematic and orderly. And two central banks going opposite directions does not help that. So I think that's the real concern, is that we're going to cause some turmoil with that carry trade potentially unraveling. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening, because what we do is going to affect Japan's decision, but Japan's been leaning more towards the rate raises. So what we do is going to affect what they decide on.
But Japan is also printing money. Oh, but Japan is also printing money. So they're trying to offset those divergent events. Okay. All right, let's see. What other stocks do we want to take a look at here?
Shrek fingers today.
Yeah, that's okay. H&H Tactical had also suggested TJX, Nike, and AMD.
Well, some of those are really in the wheelhouse we've been talking about, with how bad. Oh, yeah, you're fine, Emery. With how bad the consumer names have been getting hammered all year. Consumer discretionary staples, healthcare, even real estate and energy. All things that have a lot to do with the human side of the market. Been hammered, while everything else has to do with the AI side of the market's been doing great. So I think we're going to start to see some, rotation back into these beat up consumer names, especially with the weakening consumer looking for bargains and deals. You're going to see, I think, a lot more flow into companies like TJX, Ross Stores.
I mean, you've already been seeing that, and actually, I believe the recent earnings were good as well.
Yep, Dollar General. So all the discount or bargain retailers, I think they're going to do pretty good in this environment where the consumer is under pressure.
Yeah. Love this producer here. He takes no days off. You might be coming down with turkey fever. The only known cure is more leftovers. You know what? Sign me up for that, because the turkey was so good and the food was so good that I cannot wait to eat the exact same thing again here today as I'm watching my Bears kick the Eagles' butt. Take that, Jim Cramer. Take that. All right. Just got to bring myself back down to neutral here and realign my chi. All right. AMD next. We'll do that. Talked about this one a lot recently. This is doing an all right job holding the island. I know it was looking a little shaky there for a bit, but this recent move higher, giving us some room to be optimistic. We'll see if we end up taking out this 50-day. If we do, that really does put 227 on deck here. And I got to imagine, if we take these three areas out, the 50, the 227, and then recapture that 28, it's giddy up to this higher trend line up here at 277. This is going to go as tech goes and as AI stocks go. AMD clearly kind of catching up or trying to. Things seem to be going well here, and this one not priced as premium, priced with the same premium that NVIDIA is. 13, what do you think about this AMD chart here?
I don't particularly like the downtrend that it's in off the highs from October. The current formation that this has since November 12th looks to me like it's a bear flag. We could resolve lower, so I would certainly keep that in mind, especially if we can't see a recapture of the 50-day SMA soon. So I can see that 200 has been holding up pretty well. We visited down there earlier this month a couple of times and got support. So 200 is going to be a big support area. I'm not sure it's going to hold. because if we, like I said, if we can't get back above the 50-day SMA soon, I think we end up going on to lose 200. Now, I don't know that we're going to necessarily gap fill down to 170, but I think we could find some pretty good support around the 180s, like the low 180s, if we do get a resolution of this bear flag. So just some things I'd be watching. I don't think that this is going to, if this does come back in, I doubt that we go much lower than 160. I seriously doubt we'll go underneath that. But those areas that I mentioned of support, 200, 180, in the low 180s, I think that's about the range you're going to get before you start to see some more bullish activity to the upside. Just something to watch for.
Okay. Good stuff there on AMD. We can take a look at the Google chart here next if you want, but I must address this comment here. Zach McCracken saying that I reiterate my suggestion of an array of mustards and eating the turkey cold. A couple of things here. First of all, the fact that you use array in this comment is worthy of bonus points because having an array of different flavored things on the table is always a winning suggestion, Zach. So we can pat yourself on the back for that. However, doing that and eating the turkey cold, clearly you live in Greece and not in America because there's no effing way that we are going to eat the turkey cold after Thanksgiving. We all have microwaves and ovens here, boss, and that meal is designed to be hot, and I don't think that this is the way to go. I say that tongue in cheek, of course, and I love mustard. I'm someone that loves mustards and loves different mustard flavors here. I just got to think for Thanksgiving, we're probably going to heat that bad boy up.
Yeah, and if you've got a griddle or a Blackstone, you can take those slices of turkey breast and throw it on there and heat it up, and then you could stack whatever else you want it while it's getting warmer.
And that may get done on my Blackstone. Here you go, Izzy. No way, cold. No way. Jeremy disagrees. Cold turkey sandwich for the win. Turkey salad. Turkey sandwiches and turkey salad sandwiches, unbelievable. Yeah, Anne-Marie, you didn't think you were going to show up here on Friday and not hear about food. No way you thought that. You knew exactly what you were getting into.
Hey, after Thanksgiving?
Gravy on everything.
Oh, yeah.
Stuffing, sandwich, doesn't matter. Okay. We do need to get back to stocks here because I'm already ready to eat. I am already ready to eat again. Okay. Google was the other stock. See how easily I get distracted on a day like today?
Oh, yeah.
Don't know what to tell you. Oh, by the way, speaking of being distracted, Anne-Marie, since you're here, this is great. 13. We normally turn the show over to Anne-Marie at 11 o'clock, and we're going to do that again because she made herself available, which we're thankful for. But what I'm going to need from you is for you to stay on for another minute because at that exact time is when my favorite golf company does their Black Friday drops, and you have to have your order placed within 20 seconds or you don't get anything. You might as well get coal in your stocking. So right when we do that transition, I'm going to be doing that, and I need you to facilitate bringing Anne-Marie on. Is that all right?
Oh, and bring her on. Sure, I can do that.
No, meaning just being here to talk to her so that I can get this thing done here.
Absolutely. I was going to, ask if you were going to, share your screen as you're making this purchase, and we're going to all cheer you on and make you,
here's the thing.
You on for the checkout line.
Here's the thing. They sometimes release little teasers for what they're going to be selling, and I can determine, I like that or I don't like that. But with Black Friday, they're very mysterious about it. This is one of their biggest drops, and the stuff is almost always great. And I've got something from the last two. I don't look to be breaking my streak here today. So just so you folks know, that's what's going to be going on here. H&H Tactical says, I'm going to be hearing my husband talk about his full belly until the leftovers are gone. That sounds like you are winning. Sounds like he is winning as well. So we will take that. Richard Judge says, Ryan, I think I can beat a round of golf. I don't know what you mean by that, Judge. You can beat me. That's a very low bar, by the way. If you can beat Wiss, that might be something. Lion, if you tell me to focus on stocks one more time on Black Friday, you might not be joining us until Monday. that is about all I can say here, because we are going to have some fun today, and it will not all be about stocks. Now, speaking of stocks, as far as Google goes, this has been a massive winner. And in fact, we'll start this off with the register ring because I know that there were a bunch of people that were trading Google here recently. I scalped it, and that was actually the wrong move. Should have swung it, frankly, because this thing has continued to roll. Now, we did make an impulse move and pulled back a little bit, but I'll be honest, looking at this today, would not be shocked if we tried some of those highs again. Here's what it looks like. Maybe we can even add a trend line in here. Maybe we can do something like this. 13 lines up pretty good. We'll see if we get above that. But watch this area here of 333. Watch this area of 333. We break that, you actually might get a tradable pop to the upside here. And if you're already long this stock, great. If you have a long-term outlook on the stock or price target, I'd love to know what that is. The next, if we do get one of these pullbacks that we're kind of talking about that we might see in 2026 or at some point, Google's actually going to be one of the stocks at the top of my list to add to the long-term portfolio. So I'd like to know if any of you folks are in the same position there on Google. 13, you have anything here on the chart?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at a smaller time frame, you see all the different days this has been trading up and then kind of bouncing around. It looks like it's setting up to make another move higher. I would put support around 320. We have seen the price trade beneath that, but it just came right back above it, especially on Wednesday. We were weak in the AMs, and then after we hit about 316, remember us in 316, the glass broke, and we started climbing back up higher. So here we are, kind of trading up, trying to break over a trend line. I think you may have outlined. Yeah, you got it there. So that's what I'd be watching for. It looks like 325 is the potential breakout spot, and 320 is where you're going to want to see support for the price action.
That gives us a pretty good range, pretty good plan there on Google today.
Yep.
All right.
I mentioned from Michael that we need to put MBOT on our radar. We have looked at MBOT, but what is particularly interesting about this to you, Michael?
I was going to say, we already put MBOT on our radar. That's why I wanted to flip over to the main workspace here. We can check in on some of those movers ahead of the open here. Here's your MBOT chart. So this is basically right at the VWAP, right? VWAP 253, current price 252. It is right there. The good news here is that this isn't running away from one of those levels yet in either direction, right? We're not like extended. We're not breaking down. We're right at the VWAP. So let's see what happens when the volume flows, when the market opens here. The pre-market volume, not impressive despite the move higher.
Yeah, and this is one of the ones that has been, riding at 65 EMA up for the, since Wednesday. So, if that breaks, then I think that's going to be a major indicator that this could be rolling over. But if it holds up, it could be taken off much higher. But you just let me know what's interesting about MBOT to you, Michael. I'm curious to know. Google's been running. You want some short-term bad news and a drop. You'll probably end up getting that. I don't know about today. It looks like you're getting, like, I think on Wednesday you got an opportunity. But it looks to me at this stage that it's gearing up for some more upside. We have buy on MBOT, Ryan. I don't know. I'm just going to see if it provides any.
Remember, this is the one that got the. I think the reason he's asking that is because this is the one that got the $12 price target from Wainwright.
Okay.
So here's what I would say to that, Izzy. I don't put a whole lot of stock into Wainwright price targets, to be quite honest with you, over the years, but that catalyst might drive this higher. Let's see how this thing behaves. I'll definitely watch this one. No question.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at, Ryan. Volume and MBOT, they have their surgical device in hospital now. So I think what Michael's saying here is that if you start to get that volume to tick up, you might actually kind of set this off for a move higher since their product's actually in use.
Good morning, Tenzin. And, we've been on some of the medical and medical devices side for a while and keep an eye on that. And one of the ones that I like for that is MDT. So, we could get some more upside moves. I mean, just look at what MDT has been doing. It seems like medical devices are getting a lot of attention lately. So, yeah, certainly keep an eye on MBOT and watch that volume. And MPU will.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, 13. My nose is turned into a faucet here this morning, so I'm like blowing my nose every 30 seconds, which is extremely annoying. But I apologize for the dead air. I'm just glad you're here because it was tough holding that in before you got here.
No problem.
Here, really quickly on Google, day trader, for Google, we could see a move to 344 before pulling back to that 321 area before another push to 350. Okay, so that's really good for maybe the longer term ads or the swings. That actually is pretty good.
Yeah, so that price action he's kind of describing is breaking through the 320 area that I was just, or I'm sorry, not breaking through. It's where I think we're above it right now, aren't we? Yeah, we're just above it. So that 320, that's already support in my view. You're talking about 321, but you're looking for a move up to 344, which would certainly put it at a new all-time high, but that's a big drop. I think that there'd be some support coming earlier than that, but maybe you're right. Maybe that does come back to 321 after hitting 344.
All right, we're getting ready to open here.
Good. Let's go. We got 5 seconds. All right. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. And there we are. All right. So out of the gate here.
KTTA dropping a little bit. I've got VWAP at 135. We'll see if that holds there on KTTA.
I just read that Bitcoin was ripping. So it looks like people successfully convinced their relatives to buy more at Thanksgiving dinner.
I am proud to say I had no discussions about Bitcoin about that.
SMX is up out of the gate here. We hit a high of 40.68 in the pre-market. We're getting a little bit of a pull. So it looks like 37, still a bit of a resistance area for SMX. We hit that earlier in the pre-market this morning.
There it goes.
Yep. Looks like TMC is kind of weak out of the open. KTA, here we go. We're getting a move in KTA right now. KTTA, I'm sorry, you're right. Trying to break over that trend line. They already hammered it a few times. Let's see if it can get through it this time.
Here, let me redraw that here on this chart.
Mm-hmm. Neville's mentioning ONDS. I'm sure you'd love to hear about that.
That traded up out of the open and pulled a little bit here. We didn't have any new news on ONDS, so that looks like some continuation. Here we go on KTTA. We are right at that trend line. That was a pretty good buy out of the open there. I missed it, unfortunately.
Well,
Flipping around too much there.
Let's see what happens here at this trend line. There is a seller on the way at 175. So if we can get the volume to take him out, then we should be good to go for possibly $2. All right. We're starting to chew through some stuff. We got the big seller on the way at $2. We're getting through the other sellers in the 180s.
One of my buddies.
It's about to halt. Sorry,
it's okay. I'm trying to interrupt there. This is going to halt here. 185. Really good stuff there on KTTA. It also looks like SMX got halted here. This to the downside, so no bueno there. KTTA indeed halted 185. That is official now. And one of my buddies here said that he did brave Black Friday to actually go to the store early this morning and said he picked up a great, nice new monitor at a huge discount.
Oh, what kind?
31.5-inch curved monitor.
All right. For what, $50?
What? He didn't tell me the price. He just said he saved a bit, and it's a reputable brand like MSI at a pretty big size. So looks like technology deals are actually pretty good. Remember, one of my buddies bought like a $3,500 laptop that he got a whole bunch of money off of. So it looks like the tech deals are actually pretty good.
And screens, TVs and screens in particular should be really cheap. I mean, they just pump those things out. We're getting a mention that Vuzix is ripping out of the gate.
VUZI.
Mm-hmm. And is he saying he swung Netflix? Zach is mentioning we haven't looked at Uber. We'll check all these out. But right now, Vuzix is getting a mention here. So let's check out what's happening here with this one. 12%, blasting through the 200-day SMA in the process on news of a order or Q4 shipments of M400 smart glasses. Kits approaching 1 million. And it received orders totaling, it received orders for $1 million of dollars worth of M400s from an online retail company. Well, let's see. How many of those are there? You got Walmart. You got Amazon.
Amazon, probably the big one that's being referenced.
You got Target. You got a number of online retailers. I'm thinking that if it's going to be any of those, maybe even Best Buy. But, it seems
Best Buy was up in the pre-market here. And CMG continuing, it's a good mention there.
I would certainly, start at maybe Amazon and see if that's the one, but it could be one of the other ones as well.
Tesla, big move higher here. So that was actually weak in the pre-market right into the open, but a huge bounce here. Tesla 332 now, and actually seeing a lot of call flow in here. These are zero DTE calls, so it looks like traders on Tesla here early. Same with Google. Call sweeps here, one of them for today, another one for December, the next week.
In all likelihood, Vuzix has sold. That was for Amazon. Vuzix. It could have been also eBay. There's a couple of authorized resellers that Vuzix has partnerships with. So Net4 Connect in the UK, Mace Virtual Labs in the USA, and Tipe in Slovenia. So might not be any of those. Seems like Amazon might be the one. Here we go with MBOT. We got a back test of the 65 EMA. I think that was the spot where we could pick up shares, because we were talking about how that's important and needs to hold up for some more upside. This has not got great volume in it, but it is giving the right move that we want. Well, so let's see if this can get back up above 260.
So real quickly here, Spear is saying toss is sluggish. Crimp Biscuit says my toss went down. Day Trader says my toss seems okay. I tried to pull up MBOT here for the purpose of trading it in Thinkorswim, and my charts won't resolve at all. There's no way I would place an order in this environment. That is new too, because that wasn't happening when I was looking at KTTA prior to its halt.
Yep.
KTTA's chart not loading. So I am also experiencing, okay, KTTA's chart did finally load here. Let me try MBOT again. I am experiencing some less than ideal behavior here in toss. There's MBOT. So it just loaded for me. I'll let you know when I try to place an order here what happens.
Yeah, folks, if you're experiencing problems with your platform, this is not the time to be forcing anything or trying to make something happen. This is just enjoy the show for the time being until you're getting your platform working again.
Yep, and really quickly, I just tried to place an order here, and Spear, I got the exact same thing that you said. It was absolutely laggy. It took a while for that order to fill. I'm seeing the same thing that you are, boss. That does make me a bit nervous. That does make me a bit nervous from trading here. Now, it's possible that this resolves quickly here. Remember, with that CME outage earlier, and maybe there's something kind of going through the system here. So something to keep in mind. But I, too, am experiencing lag in order placement and order execution.
Looks like SMX is open. It went down to the 65 EMA and got support. Now it's turning around trying to recapture VWAP. That means that KTTA should be unhalting very, very shortly.
Yep.
Also,
exactly right.
We were getting a mention that bull wanted to get looked at. So I'm looking at a daily chart here for bull. And on Wednesday, we came up to the, okay, so KTTA is open. We came up to the 20-day SMA. Looks like we barely closed above it, I think. No, just a penny beneath it. Now here we are, still trading above the 20-day SMA. If we do get a close above the 20-day SMA, I think that's going to be great for recovery in bull. We need to start seeing some of these moving averages get retaken. The first one being the 20-day SMA.
Okay. Producer here saying people are complaining on X saying Thinkorswim is totally effed up. Orders are hanging for no reason. Market orders are not executing and active positions are not being displayed correctly. So I did just try MBOT a little bit there because of what Bill was saying here. I am out now. I got 5 cents on that, literally 5 cents exactly. I'm out. Both my delays were ordered, and I used limit orders for both the entry and the exit. So, Spiro, I'm seeing the same thing that you are. No bueno here for toss on my side. I'll keep you posted if that changes. KTTA, meanwhile, driving higher after that halt. In fact, register rings for those that were trading KTTA now. That's working.
Yeah, and Microbot or MBOT is very, very slow, but it's still giving us the trade we're looking for here. We wanted to see that 65 EMA hold up. It's happening so far. Now we're trying to recapture some of these smaller EMAs. Would really like to see a break over the 620. I'm sorry, the 260. Jeez, the 260 session. I'm sorry, pre-market high, and that will give us. I think that will give us a nice breakout that could maybe even take us a little bit higher, possibly to 3. Yeah, I think I would say maybe even 3 we could see here if we get that volume.
By the way, and MBOT, you're absolutely right about that. The only reason I sold it there is because I wanted to see what Thinkorswim was behaving like. And indeed, it doesn't look like it's running at full capacity, at least for me here. But I would not have sold that if I was not facing these issues here. So MBOT still looking pretty good. KTTA, we're above the trend line here. We'll see if we can hold and close above this trend line. That would be next.
One thing to point out with Vuzix here, since that's still moving, this has a short interest of just shy of 17% of the float short with 7.25 days to cover. This is a short squeeze candidate. We could see some more upside moves here if the volume holds up. So keep Vuzix on your radar if you're looking for something to trade. We are above the 200-day SMA. Looks like $3 could be the next resistance area, followed by the 50-day SMA at 317.
Here's Vuzi. Toss has hung up my orders on my computer. I was able to close them on my mobile device. Interesting. Okay, I was able to actually open and close the orders on my computer, but it was delayed on both sides of the trade.
Okay.
And MBOT continuing to move higher here, 255 now on MBOT.
And KTTA whipping around, but still higher now. 206 is the high of the session. It's coming up to a big seller at 210. I'll see if it can get through that. But right now, KTTA having a really good morning. And yeah, looks like MBOT's doing pretty well. Also, still just it's just been very, very slow. So we need to see some more volume here to get this really going. And I want to see that break over 260. That'd be the big thing to happen for today.
VIX pounded here, 1581, low print here for the VIX. I do see Palantir pulling off of the high and Apple actually at the day lows. I feel like it's been several days since I've said that. Tesla also stopped at about 433 and pulled back a little bit on this week out of the gate.
Oh, there's a little bit of a pull in KTTA. Still have WAI on my chart just to see if it does what we think it's going to do, which is go sideways. RGTZ probably going to provide some trades today. It had a really nice move out of the gate all the way up to 24.35. See how I think what needs to happen with this one is it needs to get above 24.50 if it's going to have any kind of upside move here. 24.50 was the resistance on Wednesday. SMX tested the 65 EMA, bounced off of that, trying to recapture VWAP right now. It's starting to move.
Day trader here says I placed a market order on MBOT and it sat there for like 3 seconds before filling, but it did eventually fill. That's good news. You're using Thinkorswim, right, day trader?
Oh, fantastic, Barat.
On AMD, good stuff there.
Let's take a look and see what happened there with that one. Okay, so
2-point pull on AMD off that impulse move higher.
It had this. I still think it could go lower, but this has a really not so great setup. But
Intel, sorry, really quick here, 13. Intel's screaming higher. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because we had a story that a TSMC ex-VP's house was raided. So you heard about all that. So it's interesting. Intel here, straight up out of the gate.
So I don't know if that's good news for Intel if they're rooting out corruption or whatnot, but there that goes. Back to AMD real quick. Still need to see if this is going to clear the 50-day SMA, because if it can't, then I think that downside is going to be a little bit of a stronger case.
Okay.
It looks like DEFT is still trying to make its way higher over the VWAP. Having trouble with the VWAP since the opening of the regular session. We're up at above it at the moment, but we've already been above it this morning and got rejected. So looks like that 164, 165 area. If we can't get above that, we're going to see this get knocked back down to VWAP.
Yeah, this needs to do this breakout you're talking about, 13. I'm with you on that.
Yep. Needs to break out. Needs to hold above the 65 EMA. This is the other one that has to hold that moving average. Otherwise, I think that indicator, if we start closing beneath the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, that's going to tell us that there's going to be some more downside ahead.
Tesla pulling all the way back there. So the impulse move out of the open right to 433 and already a 4-point pullback here on Tesla.
SMX is halted to the upside. It hasn't cleared the high of the regular session or the pre-market, but it is halted on volume to the upside as it moves through VWAP again.
Okay, good stuff there. SMX, MBOT pulling a little bit here now. pulling away from its VWAP, it looks like, and Onda's bouncing a little bit here. We'll take that.
And
PayPal also moving back higher.
And here we go with DEFT. It's up at that spot where it needs to break out. Need to see some volume expansion. It takes out 165. Oh, Jay, I'm right there with you. I think natural
let me read the comment for those that can't see it or might just be listening. Jay says, I still love nat gas names for the next new trend. Some names to keep an eye on are CRK, EQT, and AR. You like EQT the most of that list, right? 13.
EQT Corp. Let me see here. I don't know. I haven't looked at those names as much. I'm more on the whole.
All right, sorry, I thought EQT was one of the ones that you liked. That might be someone else from the chat. Sorry,
I'm more on the whole what's Texas doing side, and natural gas is going to be massive for what we've got going on out here. But one of the big names that it's already run, but everybody knows this name. Tim Melvin talks about it a lot. Energy Transfer. They're going to be absolutely huge with this data center build out in Texas. They're going to be supplying natural gas to the Fermi project as one of them, and that's a massive project up in Amarillo, Texas. Yep, ET, absolutely. All right, Avago hit 400. Fantastic.
Sure did. Hit 400 and backed off of it down here at 398. Barat saying, I'm watching for an Avago short. Barat, what do you need to see in order to execute that short? Break of the pre-market lows down here. What are you looking for? 397 break to the downside?
And that thing just ripped right out of the open and came right back.
Sure did. Sean says Avago at 400 is crazy.
I'm here for it. My cost on this is 192.
Not bad.
No, it's been great. And then as far as the natural gas plays go, I think one of the ones that you might be thinking of that I like is GEV.
Yeah, you've talked about that one a few. That's Verona.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be on the turbine side. I think natural gas turbines are going to be a big thing. And DEFT trying to get that new session high here. We're right at the doorstep of 165.
Broadcom retesting 400 here after that pullback.
Yeah, day trader, ET, great dividend, especially when during COVID, when that thing was getting hammered down underneath 6. Fantastic time to get it. Netflix, nice scalp today. I watched the whole volume 1 of the season 5 of Stranger Things with my son when it came out. We just binged it. So don't know if we're seeing some of those figures yet. KTTA, by the way, might be setting up to push over $2 again. Had a good time with that. You're right, though. It does look like this is going to come back in somewhere, and we have a looming death cross that's going to be happening probably. We'll see that the first week of December, I would imagine. So be careful there with that one. If you're expecting some upside, it might not be imminent. Might need a little bit more time to turn around. Boyle, the Widowmaker.
Good to see you, Crow.
Yeah, how you doing? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. ET is your best long-term position? Hell yes. No, it's not a pure play on natural gas. I understand. Yeah, and absolutely. But I for power generation, which we're going to absolutely need, it's going to be one of the big ones for that. So you're on the side of the fuel itself and probably even supplying the fuel. I'm looking more in terms of not just supplying the fuel, but generating electricity off of the fuel. And we're going to need a lot of turbines. And I think GEV and Siemens and a small handful of others are going to be really, really good for that. But yes, you're right. Not a pure play on natural gas. Yep. Totally understand. I just want the turbines. SMX, still pushing up. Looking for that pre-market high. Actually, just tickled it a moment ago.
Uh-oh, there it is.
Jim Ferrari has just been killing KTTA, just back and forth. He's done it 5 times, and he's been winning.
Not bad. Not bad.
Hopefully the winning stops there because he's playing me in fantasy this week, and I need a win
Ryan, did you get SMX? No, I did not. I did not even bother with SMX. The stock that I was doing the test trade on was MBOT, and I got a whopping 5 cents out of it.
Tom asking, what about nuclear? No, what are you asking in terms about nuclear, like for power generation, or when are we going to start getting these power plants up? Because nuclear is going to be a much longer time horizon. There's not even plans to start breaking ground on these until closer to 2030. And even when they start doing that, they're not going to be completed with and have those reactors online for another several years. I think the earliest one that's already started to work on a new nuclear reactor for their large site is the Fermi America hyperscaler that's up in northern Texas.
Is that FRMI?
Yeah, they're using not only natural gas for power generation, but they're building a nuclear site on there. Operations, like I think one of the reactors is going to start working by, I want to say 2031. I might be wrong on that date, but they're going to be a big hyperscaler out in Texas. Now the problem with them right now is that they're not going to be operationally profitable for at least another 12 months. So I'm not saying that this is one that anybody wants to pick up right now. Maybe if you think the bottom is in, but yes, Rick Perry is the one that's associated with this. He's actually a co-founder of this. So this is, I think this is going to be a good one in the future, but I just don't know that the selling's finished. This thing has been, kind of straight down ever since it, debuted on the market. So don't know if we've got the bottom in yet, but this is going to be a really good one in the future, I think. One day Plug will win. I don't know. I don't know if Plug will ever win.
Me either. I wouldn't be holding my breath for that one either. CLSK, this was a really good mention on Wednesday when we were together, and this actually has more continuation here today. Actually looks like 15 might be a spot that this is trying to go to. CLSK. Jay mentioning ANF, did that hit 100 yet? Almost.
Man, that's been great. And here we go with more of the retailers. Also, keep an eye on KTTA. We might get a move to the upside here as long as we hold above the trend line that we drew. And then there had a question about Amazon levels. So there's actually a trend line that we're trying to get over right now. I started from the high back in February and drew it through the high of July, and just get that going. And that's the trend line I'm looking at right now. If we manage to get above and hold above this, then the 20-day SMA is going to be the next big resistance area. That's going to be at about 236. What I've really liked so far with Amazon is how well the 200-day SMA has been providing support on every visit down to it since May. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4 visits down to the 200-day SMA, and it's provided support. So,
real quick here, Barat saying too many bad fills on toss today on market orders. Lots of profits gone. I actually just tried another one here. KTTA didn't even get filled, canceled the order. I'll tell you what, my toss is also not behaving well at all. I'm going to stay away from that.
Yeah, like we were saying, it just might be one of those days where if your broker's not executing orders when you put them in, or it's taking time, maybe just sit on your hands and don't try to force these trades, because technical issues we can't resolve them by placing orders.
No, and it really only affects me on the short-term trading. It doesn't really affect me on swing trading because that's more price-based or position where the stock's at. So probably we'll just not do much scalping unless this changes here. Let me try the trash cleanup function here in Thinkorswim. I don't think that's going to do anything to collect garbage, but might as well try it here. Not a terrible day anyway. So
SMX put in a new session high and then went right down underneath VWAP, and now it's halted.
BBAI, this is moving up out of the open here. Someone asked about this in the pre-market when there was no news and it wasn't doing anything. As soon as the market opened here, buying volume strong. BBAI maybe back to that 625, 630 area. This was the pre-market on Wednesday that it gave up.
I was also getting asked about SNES. This is Sens Tech.
Here, let me put that chart up here. I actually have to run to the washroom real quick. So here's your Sens chart. Let's see. Does the daily look all right? Yeah, it does. Let me leave the daily up here, 13. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so this, clearly in a downtrend since September. It's been longer than that, but this is a really steep one that it's in, and it's about to have a death cross on the daily chart. So, looks to me like this is still experiencing some downward pressure. Now, if it were to recapture the 20-day SMA, that might provide a little bit of hope. But right now, this doesn't look like this is quite turned around yet. You can see that the last time this came up and tried to recapture the 20-day SMA, it was also trying to recapture the 200 as well. That got rejected, and lower we went. So if it cannot recapture these moving averages, then it's looks like it's going to just get pushed down even further. And this is also a really tough sideways consolidation area back from the May and June months. So I wouldn't expect upside based on how much resistance is in the way. But if we start recapturing some of those levels that I pointed out as resistance, then you certainly could turn around. But those are the levels I'd be watching for there. All right, so look at SLV for a cup with handle breakout. SNES is no bueno. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's really turned around yet. I'll take a look at SLV, and when he gets back, we can probably get that put on the chart. Silver, I know you guys have been talking a lot about it. This looks like it's already kind of resolved, to be honest. I see what you're saying about the cup with handle. So you had the top of the left side of the cup on October 16th. The right side was on November 12th. You got the handle thereafter that came down to the 20-day SMA, and now we're getting the resolution. So I think you're right. This is a resolution of a cup with handle. Very nice. You could also call this like a bull pennant, or this might even be like an ascending triangle, depending on who you're talking to. But I see the price action that very much looks like it was a cup with handle formation. So I think that's correct there. And here we are now hitting 50 in SLV. And as a matter of fact, that puts us over the previous all-time high from April of 2011.
Oh, yeah.
April of 2011, which that high was, let's pull this up here.
KTTA pulled, SMX halted.
48.35 back from 2011, April.
Oh, excuse me. SMX resumed and went down. My bad.
And now we're at 50 in SLV. KTTA couldn't hold that trend line. It is being held up by VWAP, but there is a large seller walking the price down. He's at 170 right now. Yeah, silver has been pretty good. Let's take a look at the gold-silver ratio. See where that's at.
Okay. Looking around for some other stuff here. Sorry, 13.
It's okay. So it's 76. Still historically elevated, but way down off of the crazy highs that it was when it was over 100. So silver is still relatively undervalued to gold, so we could still climb higher. Yes, we are going higher on silver. Yeah.
Good morning, Shady. I did have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you and yours did as well. It took 9 full seconds for your market order to execute on toss. That is terrible.
Yeah, I'd be having warm hands at this point by sitting on them.
A 65-inch TV is cheaper than one round at Pebble Beach. How about that?
Jeez.
How about that?
Sakos Energy, TEN. We're looking at this because it's in the oil and gas name, or in that theme. What is it? Seaborne Transportation Service. Okay. So here's what I would be looking at with this one. What kind of what kind of tankers do they have in their fleet? Do they have VLCCs or ULCCs? Because that's going to be a big thing for energy transportation. You want to have the very large carriers or the ultra large carriers, especially if they're going to be buying from the United States and the Gulf Link that's being worked on right now. Looks like they just had earnings, strong earnings, fleet expansion. So in that earnings report, they're going to talk about the thing I'm asking about. So that's what I'd be reading into. What kind of fleet do they have, and is it gonna have a lot of those Okay, here we go. I found on November 2025, 10 extended for a minimum 2 years. It's VLCC Dias to a U.S. major concern with credit of minimum rate and profit sharing features. So they are operating in with VLCCs. Good to see. And they have okay, yeah, absolutely read that earnings report if you're interested in 10. They're talking a lot about the different programs that they have for building new ships and tankers. Great information in here. If this is one that you're interested in owning, I would absolutely read that first.
Market pulled off of its highs. It was trying to bounce and go higher here, but stopped. Nasdaq and SPY both kind of stopped there. 681 on the SPY, so it's still holding up near these highs, but doesn't look like it's making any move higher here. We kind of expected a low volume day so far. That's what we've got.
DEFT, be careful here. I don't like the series of upper shadows we're putting in. This would be the third one that we're going to be seeing here in this regular session on the 5-minute chart. Cannot seem to get above 170. If this cannot, get above 170 as well, I think this is coming back towards at least VWAP, possibly lower.
Pop's being sold off, Tenzin. Yep. It does, in fact, look like that. Tesla, probably your biggest example, that ran pretty good out of the gate, immediately got sold. SMX, that's up near the highs. We'll see if that pop gets sold again here as well. And also worth noting that Beyond Meat, well, it's not at the $94 or the $30 crazy targets that have been thrown out on this channel. Beyond Meat was actually higher in the pre-market today and was trading on a little bit of elevated volume there recently.
Still can't get above and hold above the 20-day SMA. It does look like it's trying to put in a bottom now. So certainly trying to stay above $1. Great short on Google.
Here is, look at that. That right up to 326 and a big time pull, 8 points on that short there. Barat, what told you to short that? Just the action? So it broke down from the high and then looked like it wanted to go lower, taking out the pre-market lows. I'm just trying to understand the short trade there. You've been really good on a lot of those short trades recently.
This can still come down to about 316, 315. We drew trend lines for this, I think, didn't we? Well, I did. I mean, I did one on the top and one on the bottom. I'm using the lows from Tuesday and the low from Wednesday to do a bottom trend line. And that's kind of where I'm targeting the price to go if we get more downside. You have to go on a 5-minute chart.
Yeah, I know what you're saying here. You're actually you're connecting these to the bottom to give you a downside. I'll do it here since we're looking at the intraday chart today on Google. Here's your target.
That's it. Google can't hold 320. Yeah, that's probably what's going to end up happening here, because now that's a resistance area. That was a support going into the regular session here, because that was where there was some sideways consolidation in the after hours on Wednesday. So we just lost that support. Now it's resistance. I agree. 320 is going to need get some good volume to get back up through it.
Here's BM&R Crow mentioning that this is getting going here. Indeed, it is. That's also got some levered products as well. Amer Sports looking good. Palo Alto climbing here, pretty steady climb. Costco actually looks pretty good for a Black Friday open here. Pulled a little bit down to 900, but right back at 910.
TMC trying to recover, but that 65 EMA is going to be a side of rejection. It has been since it lost it in pre-market this morning. Has not been able to really hold above the 65 EMA. So expect that to be a side of rejection. But if we manages to start closing over it, then it's going to turn into support. Feels like bull is ready to explode.
It always feels like that to everybody on the internet.
Let's see here.
It has been trading pretty well recently, and it's not giving back any of those recent gains, which I guess is a good thing.
Well, I don't know about explode. I would need to just see this, like I was saying earlier, hold above the 20-day SMA. There might be some kind of explosion to the upside, if it's a big move through like 950.
950 seems to be the spot for me, 13.
Yeah, so I think that would kind of be, and it would have to come with some volume. And then $10 also looks like that's another potential breakout resistance area as well. So 950 and 10, somewhere in there potentially that that explosion you're looking for. But I don't know if we get that today.
SMX to the highs, $43 now on SMX. There's no way I can trade that with my broker not even behaving. I think some folks said they couldn't even buy SMX on Thinkorswim. You have to let me know. I'm not even going to make an attempt.
There's that weakness in deft that I was concerned about with those upper shadows. So that coming back in towards VWAP. This is the one that has to hold the 65 EMA. That's down at 155.
Beyond Meat trying to get jiggy. Intel's still at the highs. More Tesla call sweeps too as that continues to roll over and give back its early morning gains. Man, I wish my nose was not completely effed.
Yeah, it does feel like fall is officially here for me. I mean, it's been warm out here. You know, in October and November, we had like one day where it was you know, under 40, but that was only in the early morning. And then yesterday we woke up and it was in the 50, and I was in the 50s, and I was like, oh, great. And it stayed in the 60s for a good majority of the day. Great weather, felt fantastic, great for deep frying. Let's go.
It looked awesome, dude. It looked like you really did a great job with that again.
Thank you.
SMX halted to the upside, 44.29 halted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know that I want to chase this, or even think that anybody wants to chase this. I mean, we could go higher, and that'd be great. But the way that this thing trades, how low the float is, it could really knife on you quick. So I think you just go ahead and trade how you want this. But just,
and if your broker isn't participating today and being quick, yeah, no bueno. No bueno. We'll roll through some of the other tickers here. Beyond Meat continuing its climb. Gosh. ONMD, this is moving higher after a recent Form 4 showing multiple insider buys. That's ONMD, one MedNet.
Rivian up 5% today.
I mentioned that earlier, but I never went to the chart. Here's what Rivian looks like here today. Pretty good looking move today.
Didn't they have news over the holiday, or am I thinking am I thinking of something that happened earlier? I thought I saw some news with specifically for Rivian. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't see it. I mean, it's possible you did. I wasn't really watching for news over Thanksgiving. News that I saw was not something. I mean, it was just really horrific news.
It is pretty close to being a short squeeze candidate. It's shy of the days to cover, but it's got 14% of the float shorted. Does this still lose a lot of money? Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, $1.25 billion.
Okay, but it still has a market cap of 19 billion. All right. I like how much sense that makes to me. Looks like we're getting some real weakness here with KTTA. Lost the trend line, lost VWAP, coming down to some other areas of support around 135. TMC, this got rejected at the 65 EMA, looking for support at the 200 EMA. DEFT, we did go all the way down to VWAP. It's trying to get some support there, but it's got resistance at 165 that I'm not sure it's going to be able to clear. Not with this volume anyway.
When is the market going to change, Jacob? I would imagine the calendar rollover to 26 is probably the next big thing. I guess we'll see what happens with the rate cut in the December meeting. But I would expect kind of a slow drift higher into the end of the year, and then maybe something else for next year. 13, I'm sorry, man. I got to get a cup of water or something. I'm absolutely miserable right now. This absolutely sucks.
Go ahead. Hey, no problem, Greensleeves. You have a wonderful rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. And yeah, hopefully those Bears will take out the Eagles. All right, so let's see. We got MBI. I'm just cycling through some names. I'll have to take a look at some of the names you guys are mentioning here. You mentioned, let's see, Lion is talking about KGC. What's that about here? Oh, that's another gold stock. Moving slowly, but another one to play with gold for. ANET, another one. This one also moving very slowly. Less than 1 million shares traded in this today, so I don't know how great the moves are going to be. Pretty heavy float too, 1 billion in the float there. Let's look at this chart. If this does see any movement to the upside, I think you got that 20-day SMA in front of you. That's going to cause a problem. SMX is open and higher, up to $48 now, 48.41. This looks like it's sniffing out 50. We might be halting here in a second if this blasts beyond 50 here. Anyway, so that's that one. ANET, just to finish up here, it looks like it's trying to curl up and go back higher. But like I said, that 20-day SMA, I'd be concerned about that providing resistance. SMX at 51 now. Great day to add some more shares of MRK. I've got as much MRK that I want to have, so I'm good there. But anybody else that's looking to trade that, go for it. Thoughts on UMAC? This one is a situation with the 200-day SMA, and it's not a great one either. The 200-day SMA was providing support since June. After it broke through it, we've got a really good test in September that helped launch it from the 200-day SMA around $9 all the way up to $17.50 before it came back in. The unfortunate thing now is that we've lost the 200-day SMA as support, and now it's resistance, and we're trading up to it. So the print I have right now for the 200-day SMA is 913. That's not too far away from where the price currently is. I think I'd be careful about potentially seeing a rejection there initially at the 200-day SMA. But as long as it holds above 8, I think eventually it'll be able to recapture it. So that's what I'd be looking at. Support at 8, resistance at the 200-day SMA. SMX halted at 53.68 to the upside. All right. Yeah, it's very, very choppy. I totally agree with that. Cooler old girlfriend up 15%. I mean, a lot of these small, names are going to probably get some attention, especially if there's a bullish view towards the FOMC meeting coming up next month, early next month. If we are going to get a rate cut, I think a lot of those rate-sensitive names are just back on the table, and that's why you're seeing some of this price action today. So small caps that are very rate sensitive, the minor names that are rate sensitive, REITs, all those should be doing pretty well today. Everything that is absolutely volatile or sensitive to rate changes, they're having a good day, I think.
All right, I'm back. Hopefully this will work. I come back to see SMX up at 53 and halted to the upside.
Yep.
Even more craziness here, and I'm sorry about how under the weather I am.
It's okay. Your nose is now SMX because it's running.
Man, man, it's frustrating.
And you guys are mentioning a whole bunch of different silver and gold names. Look, they're all going to do pretty well today. The stronger ones that you're going to want to be in for the longer term. I really like NEM. I also really like for silver. I like WPM. WPM has been fantastic for taking a position in silver, but not without the leverage of a miner. So and it pays a dividend. I really do like WPM. Dividend's probably not great at the price that it's at right now. It was much better when it was down around 50, but still think WPM is one of my more likable silver names. Jay Rice mentioning Cocoa, COCO.
That's Vita Coco, right? Like that coconut water? Yeah.
That coming off of this explosive move that it had last week. Pretty extended too. 75 RSI on the daily. This thing just, took a staircase up and then it blasted off.
Tesla might be trying to hold in now, might be trying to bounce a little bit. Costco at the highs. Costco doing well on Black Friday. Amazon came in from its bounce earlier. Amazon looks like that's slowing down a little bit.
When it comes to cocoa, I drew a trend line from the high of September of 2023 through the high of February of this year. I just used that trend line as a support area. If the price comes back in from here, I think $50 is going to be one of your early support areas. But if that is lost, then I'd be looking at the 20-day SMA and the trend line I just talked about.
Yeah. Here's the trend line you just talked about.
Yeah. I'm glad you like that one, guys.
I liked it too. I'm just frustrated at it was a good joke. It's just I'm frustrated that I can't breathe or talk normally. I've gone through half a box of Kleenex this morning. It's ridiculous.
You know, Lion, if you actually have, no, I know you don't have an ETF, but if you have like a basket of names that you like that we can call the Lion ETF, we could even make a watch list called the Lion ETF if you want.
No, I want the actual ETF product and I want the actual discount that he's promising us.
Okay, then there you go. And I will just stop talking and you guys can work that out.
Please make an ETF product and give our group exclusive discounts to said ETF product. That would be wonderful if we could arrange that.
Yeah. NVTS, ask CW Parker. Let's see what Navitas is doing today. That's up 8%, trying to hold above the 20-day SMA.
SMX is open, went to 56 and is pulling a little bit here.
Now, if we hold above the 20-day SMA, close above it today.
60 SMX, God.
Just hold on to your hats. It's going to probably hurt a lot of people that buy it late. Now,
you know what though? Shout out to Crow because Crow said in the 40s, if you short it here, it's your own fault. We're 20 points higher than that call.
Yeah, so to wrap up NVTS, got to hold above the 20-day SMA for more upside, but I do see resistance at 10 and the 50-day SMA. So that's going to be at about 982, not too far away, less than $1 away from where we're at. Shady Wade is suggesting you give Mucinex a shot.
Yeah, I did. I actually tried Dayquil. Mucinex will be for tonight. Problem with Mucinex is that I intend on drinking wine today, and if I take it during the day, I'm going to get all like robo-tripped out of my mind if I have wine later. I don't want that. It's bad.
That'll be an interesting Bears game to watch.
No. Nothing is stopping that game from getting watched and enjoyed here today. Nothing. That much I can promise you.
I'll text you when the game starts to make sure you're not drowsy and asleep.
I took Dayquil. If anything, I'm going to be wired.
All right, what's looking good to you folks? Because right now it seems like everything is kind of weak, with the exception of SMX, but that's halted. So what's looking good to everybody?
Yeah, SMX really the only like thing. Netflix, from Izzy's mention earlier, Netflix spiked out of the gate, came back in, and then went right back to the highs. Actually gave some pretty good trading here. Netflix's price at 107 though.
SB Trader here today. I'm sure he was wondering if we were going to be, watching the Stranger Things Volume 1 when it came out. And if he's listening, I did watch it with my son. We made Stranger Things pizza. I had a whole pizza to myself. No regrets.
All right. Thank you, Day Trader, for all of this. It is Black Friday, and that means that you're going to get the best deals on all of the Benzinga products that we offer here. If you folks want here, I'll actually give this to you. Here's the Black Friday link for any of you that want Benzinga Pro, but you've been waiting. Here is our best sale. Link is in the chat. This sale, you don't even have to talk to anybody. You can just click the link there and go right to the checkout page. That's 50% off, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then the other thing is that if you don't mind talking to somebody, you really should call James today and try to get the best deal or bundle on any products that you're looking for. Try not to treat this show as a commercial, but on Black Friday, it's in your best interest to take advantage of that. Day Trader, I appreciate that mention.
And if you are going to treat it like a commercial, treat it like a Super Bowl commercial where you actually watch it. How about that?
Tom says, I got my chicken wings primed, prepped, and ready to go for the Bears game. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Tess says, ginger peppermint tea. That is such a good suggestion. I actually do have some tea that has peppermint in it, but I don't have ginger peppermint. That is a great suggestion. That is a great suggestion.
KTTA trying to move back up to the VWAP. It's almost there, but I don't think it's got the volume to get through VWAP. So you could just keep an eye on this to see if we get a trade set up here. But it's looking like it's going to need some more volume to get through VWAP and the trend line that we drew earlier. So just wanted to point that out there. I'm not suggesting this is really a trade here, but if it recaptures VWAP, it might have something. MBOT losing the 65 EMA. That's not good news.
And that thing has been weak pretty much all morning.
I think this might be it for MBOT. If it can't get back above that 65 EMA soon, then this thing is, I think, toast.
Sprinkled ginger right out of a spot. Now that I can do, Tess. Maybe I'll try that. The morning show here is basically all that needs to happen here today, and then we can get prepped for the Bear game.
Yeah. What's the broader market looking like?
Holding higher here, 682. So even with the CME outage, SPY up by 0.35% here today. NASDAQ up 0.37% here today.
Yeah, 685 still going to be resistance.
Food Network show today.
Probably. Okay, so KTTA right up to that VWAP. Let's see if it can get through it or if we're going to see a rejection. Lots of sellers in the way.
The important hard-hitting poll is done. Thanksgiving leftovers. 40% of you said in a sandwich. 38% of you said on a plate. And 22% of you said what leftovers. There you go, Izzy. There's your Food Network update for today.
There we go. SMX is open. 60.83 is the high, but we are falling right now. Trying to get support from the last candle's high around 53.80. And it looks like 54. It might just halt here.
Yeah, this is going to halt. That was a aggressive whoosh back down on the SMX.
And there it is, halted.
There it is. Intel up more than 5%. You know, part of me wonders if that moved, if they're thinking, well, gosh, they actually might have got some pretty decent trade secrets and maybe Intel's a buy.
You know, KSS has had some pretty interesting price action this morning. We went sideways we've been sideways since we closed on Wednesday. We lost that sideways price action out of the gate, but we came down to a support level from Wednesday's intraday price action. Before we went, it's like pretty much the bottom of the sideways channel that we entered after we had the impulse move to the highs. So this could be an area where we're just going to go sideways in until we break out of it. It looks like 24.50 could be a breakout spot.
Sorry, which one are you looking at?
KSS.
KSS?
Mm-hmm.
That's still holding from its big move there. That looks pretty good. Folks, are there any tickers that you want to see for option trades here with Anne-Marie when we move over to her in 40 minutes from now? Let me know. We'll get those in. We'll have her take a look at those chains.
There was that. TMC is starting to get some pressure building up at the 65 EMA again. Large selling away at 662. If it gets through that, I think we might see the other side of the 65 EMA again. Nothing else is really looking too great.
Nope. VIX at 1677. I would expect that to probably hold in the range until next week.
MNDR, it doesn't have a very big move today, but the past 15 minutes have been kind of interesting. Don't know if we're going to get much more out of this, but I think I'm just going to keep this on my radar to see what it does.
I see a very clear trend here from Wednesday's pre-market.
It's just the volume isn't great at all. So I don't know what kind of resolution we're going to get, but it's just, the price action is just interesting. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it.
And then Nick mentioning hymns here. So what's the thought here, team, with hymns? I know we've talked about this a lot in Happy Hour. We've talked about this really kind of being under pressure. Do we think that this makes any move back towards these highs? We do kind of have a decent downside trend here, I suspect. But any thoughts here on hymns? I don't feel bullish on this at all.
41, it looks like a big resistance area to me.
Yeah, and that's the previous support area that we cracked. That's spot on. I don't know that it's going to have the strength to me, it seems like hymns probably wants to test lower.
$41 resistance area, imminent death cross. I don't feel great about this going a whole lot higher. I think the one positive thing I can take away from the daily chart is that we are trading above the 20-day SMA right now. So if we close above it, well, I think that will at least get us up to 41. But I think that we're going to probably end up seeing this come back in again. And if it does, it might go lower than 34. We'll see. I don't like the way the chart looks on this one. It looks like there could be some more downside ahead coming.
Yeah, the chart doesn't look good. We talked about like the actual environment that this is in. The competition is growing. Lily's the clear winner in this entire space. Yeah, I don't like hymns right here, to be honest. Yes, that girl mentioning app, ticker APP. That's been a show winner, frankly, as we've talked about app quite a bit here. Here's what app looks like. This is actually just shy of its 50-day moving average. We would love to see the downtrend broken here. See if it can move above that 50 and maybe the downtrend as well. And then, Ed, you want to take a look at Visa. I actually completely forgot to do that. Said we were going to do that earlier. That actually might be a really good play for the holiday season as well. Here's what your Visa chart looks like. I'll go on the big chart. You know what, Anne-Marie? How about Visa? Why don't we build a option trade here on Visa, ticker V? That might be a really good call here. This thing's pretty much been sideways all of 2025. Does look like it's coming up off its recent lows here on it. Okay, so we're going to do that. Ed, be sure to stick around for Anne-Marie's segment. We'll build a trade here on Visa. This is a good one. We haven't done this recently.
I think you want to put a line out at 335, just a horizontal line. Because when you do that, it makes sense about the kind of price action we've been getting since we got over the 20-day SMA. There's these upper shadows, these wicks that seem to indicate some trouble with closing over 335. When you draw a horizontal line, you can see just how much that was providing support before we lost that support level on November 14th. So I think 335 is going to be a big, big level to get back over here. And if we can't, then I think there's more downside coming.
Yeah, we're testing that here today, it looks like.
Yeah.
Up 30 says, Ryan, how was your turkey? It was excellent. It was excellent. The entire Thanksgiving meal was out of this world. 11 of 10. There you go. Okay, so day trader, I have a put credit spread on Visa, long-term goal of 335. Right, that is the exact area we're talking about. How about that? It's almost as if that area is important. What do you say?
That's interesting. Very interesting. DEFT, this thing continues to come back towards the 65 EMA. So those upper shadows did not lie. This is getting weaker, but we'll see if the 65 EMA can provide support. Has been for a few days. This is going to be the true test of whether or not this goes higher or starts sinking lower. MBOT lost its 65 EMA, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this came down to the 230s.
Yeah, that I didn't feel great about, and it had some weakness early. It really hasn't dissipated at all. See what happens when SMX opens here after its downside halt.
Lots of things have really slowed down, it looks like.
This is what we expected. And remember, market closes at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get stuck in it. That's something else I guess we should mention here. Don't get stuck in anything. No, Dara, nobody said that Benzinga Pro was less than $300 for 3 years. No, he was talking about Benzinga Edge, which I believe there's a 3-year subscription for under $300 for Black Friday.
App is going back to 700 soon. His line. I mean, it does look like it has a bullish formation here. The big thing was testing that or getting that support around 500, where the previous support was, rebounding off that. It needs to, so we're above the 20-day SMA. We still have to recapture the 50, but if we capture the 50, then I would say, yeah, that 700 print could be a much higher possibility, much more likeliness.
MSTR, this is actually a nice move out of the open here.
Yeah, but with Bitcoin up, I would imagine that a lot of those other names are up. I think.
Yep.
When we're getting, we should be keeping an eye on CLSK.
Yeah, that's actually had a great day and a great couple of days. Shout out to whoever that was in the chat that's been talking about that. Cypher Mining, this is another one our show talks about quite a bit. That's having some more continuation here today. But here's your CLSK chart, 13.
I thought you had a guest on that pointed out CLSK to us.
We did. We did. It was back in a 10 handle. Well, who was that?
The Asian gentleman that you were talking to. I'm trying
to think. Charlie Moon. That was Tuesday this week. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Because I think didn't Luke Lloyd also like this several weeks ago?
Well, I wasn't several weeks ago that I'm thinking of. It was just this week that I heard somebody talking about CLSK. I think it was him. But in any event, CLSK 50-day SMA is the next resistance, and it seems to be a pretty stiff resistance area, especially when you get a little bit higher up to 16. That whole area right in there, that 15-cent range, 15.85 to 16, big resistance, I think.
Tom says, what are you two guys wagering when your teams play each other next week? We are not wagering. I obviously have the Bears. 13 obviously has the Packers.
It's going to be fun.
So Tuesday, so it was Charlie that was talking about CLSK. Okay. Charlie's been great too. We've had him on twice. He's been right in a lot of the stuff that we're talking about on a regular basis. He clearly trades the same things we do.
Getting a little bubbling here from KTTA. Would really like to see if this can recapture VWAP. That might set us up for another test of the trend line. Still waiting for SMX to do something. I don't know how long it's been halted, but
I can tell you that was halted at 10:21. It has been halted for 10 minutes now.
Okay, so I don't know how long this halt's going to be, if it's a 10 or 15-minute halt, but should be soon if it's a 10-minute one. Otherwise, 5 more minutes. Oh, no, there we go. It just opened. Just opened. And it's gapping down lower. Okay, so we're at the 9 EMA, getting some support. Maybe we fill the gap up to 54 if it holds the 9 EMA. But this looks like it's kind of weak. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. It's all over the place.
Good mention of the 9 EMA. It basically went right there and is trying to hold it. $1.50 point bounce off that 9 EMA, by the way.
Yeah, if it bounces off the 9 EMA and fills the gap, then that might be a decent trade there. But I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Josh says, Vikings fan here. Jealous you can still watch your teams play, period. This is what I'll say. Last year, I was in the same situation that you are in right now. When the Bears were losing 10 straight games, it was hard to even watch them on TV. So I feel for you, and you got a good squad over there. I think hopefully that turns around for you, because there's a lot of really good players on your team.
Yeah, that young kid, JJ McCarthy, is going to be, I think he's going to be something special one day.
Do you really, or are you salting him up here?
I'm not salting him up. I think he could be good, but he's clearly in need of development.
Yeah. And that's okay with young kids. You know, that's okay with young kids. By the way, SMX still holding this 9 EMA. You're right about the weakness. Kind of feels like that. I'm actually watching the level, like the tape here. It actually looks like this is slowed down a little bit. But so far, so good. It is held that. Sell the Black Friday Pro deal, I believe, is going to run through Cyber Monday, but we also have another link for Cyber Monday. So I would imagine the price would be similar.
KTTA.
But just to be safe, the Black Friday might end today.
KTTA is moving through its VWAP. The volume still doesn't look great, and it could get a rejection at the trend line that we drew, but it's trying to push up right now.
Hey, at least it recaptured the VWAP. Yeah. I mean,
it's just that it's, the volume just doesn't look great. The technicals are looking pretty good, but if it got that volume component, I think we could see the other side of this trend line. Jimmy was asking about Huma. This was
That's Huma site, right? HUMA ticker. I'll bring it up.
This one looks like it may have kind of, I don't want to say that it's bottom. Actually, now that I look at this chart, this looks like this could end up going lower. I think this it might be trading into a descending triangle. Ever since we had that gap down in, what was this, March, late March? Yeah, late March. It's been, putting in a series of lower highs. Well, it's kind of found its footing around, 115. I think that this is trading into a descending triangle. It's not looking that great to me. And if it's something you're interested in, hopefully I'm wrong and it starts turning around. But I just don't like the way this formation since March has looked. Sorry for the bad news. It just doesn't look like a great chart to me. Now, if there's some news coming that turns this around, maybe that's a positive catalyst that gets this going. Certainly, it's got it's a short squeeze candidate. It's got 19% of the float shorter with over almost 8 days to cover. So I will say that there is that potential there. If it gets some really good news, this thing could certainly short squeeze. Float's a little thick though. Just keep that in mind. But the chart, I don't like the chart in particular. It looks like a descending triangle.
SMX breaking down from that 9 EMA, stopping here at the 15 EMA, excuse me. It's clearly following some of these EMAs here, but this sure looks like this is kind of turned to weakness now. VWAP down at 37.68.
Is he saying JJ is a flop?
Yeah, he's talking about the Vikings quarterback.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. No, he's not. I don't think he's particularly great right now. Like I said, he's a young kid. I think he could be great later.
Take care of yourself, Judge. Go Bears. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, Judge. High class right there, Richard Judge.
Yep. Take care, Judge. Bull is moving, says, is he? Looks like we are still getting a little bit of upside from KTTA, but still not really appreciating the volume. I just very concerned about whether or not can recapture this trend line we drew. All right, let's look at Bull here.
Nice trade line on the Chipotle calls.
Oh, nice.
How many halts has SMX had today? It is in its 8th halt right now, Dara. 8.
Now, Bull, I think we were talking about 950 and 10, right? That's kind of the range we were looking at with this one. It needs to get
950 was the support level, very clear.
Okay, so that's the area we got to get back above is 950, and then we can look at 10. So I think that's really all it comes down to is if we can recapture 950 and 10, maybe today 950. I don't know when we get 10, but those are the next big resistance areas I see with Bull. And here we go with KTTA coming back up to that trend line we drew. And a lot of these Bitcoin miners, EKS, you bring up a good point. The Hive is 10% plus to Bitcoin miner and AI data center. I'm starting to think that a lot of these miners, these Bitcoin miners, may just end up converting to data centers. I think the bigger money is starting to get realized through that than just Bitcoin mining.
Traeger, ticker COOK, Cook, ripping here on volume. Wonder if that has anything to do with Thanksgiving. No news.
Barat, I talk about it a lot. I like the human sectors for 2026. I still think that the tech sector is going to be great. They'll be fine. But I think we're going to see a comeback in some of these more beaten down consumer-related sectors. So, I've already taken positions for Dollar General. I did that earlier this year on this whole idea. Same things. It's going to be the same way with some other consumer names as well. And healthcare. Healthcare is going to be big as well. So basically, consumer-oriented stocks and sectors, I like those for next year.
I like energy on top of what 13. I like what 13 mentioned, but I like energy on top of that as well. And now I know you're saying human touching stocks. Question here about Chewy from White Chocolate Mocha in the chat. There's another stock that I like. What do we think about Chewy? Do we consider this a human stock, even though it's about animals, which are the humans animals?
It's still considered consumer discretionary, right? Canine staple. but consumer discretionary.
Actually, okay. So the industry here is specialty retailer.
Yeah, so discretionary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that could be the case. I mean, what does the chart look like? Because if this has been doing well this year, then I would say maybe to probably not. But if the chart's been kind of hammered, in
It
2025,
is kind of hammered. It's actually not the greatest chart. We did have one move earlier in the year on Chewy at the beginning of the year here, right? So we had this one drawdown around Liberation Day, and then post Liberation Day, this was a great trade. I actually traded that. Since then, though, and that's since May 13 or June, this thing's been in a downtrend as marked off by the trend line, but it does actually look like this 32 area, maybe even a little bit lower than that. No, 32. 32 definitely seems to be the support here on Chewy. We're not far from that.
Now, one thing I don't like about this is how we just had a death cross. The death cross in this, they can go on for a while. The last one we had was in April of 2023, and we didn't get a golden cross until June of 2024. So it took more than a year for that to resolve. I don't know that we're going to necessarily see that happen here, but if we get a rejection at the 50-day SMA, then I'd be concerned about seeing the underside of 30. So maybe there's some more downside in Chewy, but it does look like it's trying to recover. And I think that recapture of the 50-day SMA is going to be paramount to the upside.
Boeing, this is trading up here. Remember, Kramer said that the bottom is in and that 2026 is going to be excellent for Boeing. He said a huge surge there, mainly because of the backlog. It doesn't even rely on commercial airplane purchases for 2026, really even for 2027. I am seeing some put flow here on Boeing, though. Repeat put sweeps on Boeing.
If I'm being honest, which I always am with you guys, I think that there could be a little bit more downside to Boeing. I would think 165 is going to be the best, the real strong support. Maybe even 160, but there's still, it still looks like it's in a bit of a, well, still in a downtrend. I still think we haven't really recovered from that yet. We're at the 500-day SMA. Now, if we recapture the 500-day SMA and start closing above it, then sure, I'll happily eat my words. I still got room, but I think that the 500-day SMA is going to, this 190 area is going to be a bit of a tough area to recapture. So I think I'd be very, very careful about what happens, over the next week with Boeing. I think there could be some more downside still.
Tess is saying that Kramer's saying that there's a lot of put flow. I see it.
Okay.
I see it. So no question.
Okay, so then maybe wait Boeing out just a little bit longer, but I do like that 160, 165 area for support. KTTA still, we had a nasty red candle about 5 minutes ago, but we're still above VWAP and still trying to push over the trend line. I'd be very concerned about a pop over the trend line and then it gets met with selling. That's what we don't want to see happen, but I fear that might be what we end up getting here with KTTA. It does. Okay. So that's for next year. Okay. And EKS target, it has about target. It's up 1 3/4 is the bottom end, 5% dividend. Josh, well, you partied way harder than we did. Okay, so let's take a look at what was that one? Target. Let's take a look at that and see how that looks on the chart. Because if it's been beaten up pretty good, then that could be another consumer stock that turns around and does really well next year. And seeing as how we're probably going to end up getting more rate cuts, that's great for companies that pay dividends. This one is over 5%, as you were mentioning. So if you're bullish on Target, then this probably represents a really good buying opportunity for the dividend, specifically for the dividend. But that's if you believe that the selling's done. I'm leaning more towards maybe it is. It does look like it's got some footing going here. It is recapturing the 20-day and the 50-day SMAs.
Which one are you looking at? I'm sorry.
This is Target. So I think I would be wanting to see what happens up around $100. That's just above the 200-day SMA. We've been getting resistance in the $99 area. Yeah, I think that's what I would have to see before I really feel confident about this stock. Is I would want to see what happens up at that 100, that in that 200-day SMA, that area here, that $100 200-day SMA area. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Then I wouldn't take a position here with Target, a value trap, absolutely. So if it's not going to be a value trap, then it's got to recapture some levels first, because it's still very clearly in a downtrend. I'm not sure that the recovery's started yet. This thing has just been awful all year and for multiple years. It's still in a multi-year downtrend, folks. And that from here, that downtrend doesn't get snapped until it's well over 100. So 110, 115. Be careful with Target.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. The other thing that I would throw on here is that this is one of the go woke, go broke stocks, and it has been in a downtrend ever since. So I would definitely be careful here on that. And if you're gonna play some of these for maybe beaten down stocks that might work in 2026, I think that's a really good idea. But just have a downside stop on any of them.
I am sounding the alarm here on DEFT. This is the one where we had to hold above the 65 EMA, and it's certainly testing it right now. It's still above it, but it is testing it as support. And this is off of the upper shadows we were mentioning before. That certainly resolved to the downside as expected, loss of VWAP and other EMAs in the process. But if we start closing underneath the 65 EMA, I think we're going to continue to see downside in this. So has to reverse here unless it wants to see the lower prints.
SMX perfect VWAP bounce, so that pulled through some of those EMAs and then bounced off the VWAP.
Yep.
This has really been the only mover that's been doing a bunch of stuff here today.
Well, it's been a mover for sure. It's been a halter as well. Playing red light, green light with us today. KTTA, I think that's the only other one that might provide some kind of a move here. It's been holding above the VWAP, but if this doesn't get the volume to push through the trend line that we drew, I think this might be coming back in. But that's okay. So we lost 65 EMA. There is your signal. It went lower. Here we go. Coming down to the 200 EMA next, I think. How's Getty looking? Okay. I don't know that I'm going to get a whole lot out of RGTI today with the way the volume is. Might get some more downside, but I think for the RGTZ trade that's been working so well, I think you'll get a better opportunity when we have more participation in the market on Monday.
Yeah, I think we are probably likely kind of done here for the day. S&P futures, after that problem is resolved, they're up 0.3 here. SPY's at 682.20. It's basically just sitting sideways here. Market closes in just a handful of hours here for the truncated day. I think this is probably it. The only movement I think you're going to see here are probably in some of these kind of crazy names like SMX. And to your point about, maybe waiting for more volume, might be more prudent to wait for a regular session day.
Lion, it could be the year for Target, but for me, I need to see. I need to be more convinced of that. And the levels I was giving that I need to see recaptured, that would more or less do it for me. But it's been in a multi-year downtrend, so that's why that's recapture of those levels is so important. I need to see that the downtrend is subsiding. But you might be right. It could be a good year for Target because how does the saying go, Ryan? A rising ship lifts all the crappy boats.
I mean, that's the fake saying.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But you get the point that if consumers stocks, consumer discretionary and retail are going to have a good year, then certainly Target could get a lift as well.
Progressive G and EKS mentioning American Eagle, ticker AEO. The Sydney Sweeney proxy here. This had a decent day on Wednesday. Looks like it's holding in here today. Earnings next week. So for any of you looking at retail stocks here, AEO, more earnings next week. Chart looks like a really good recovery here too.
And there goes KTTA to the downside. The lack of volume, the levels. That's about what's going to happen now. I think 135 is potentially coming next. It's got this. It's still above the 65 EMA, so there might be support there. But I do not like the way this formation looks. I think we're just going to see 135 next. And about lower, deft, lower. We're losing that 65 EMA.
Yeah, I think these movers might be done.
I think so. Yep.
I think these movers might be done. So 10 minutes, we'll go to Anne-Marie. We'll set up some option trades, or at least give you a game plan to set up some option trades. And then I think it's time to enjoy your Black Friday.
But you know what? Toss issues aside, it hasn't been a bad day. It's been not bad.
No, it really hasn't been, I'm in no room to complain because the one trade I made literally $50. So I basically didn't make anything on it. At least I didn't do something stupid and take an L.
Well, you know what's behaving quite nicely right now, on very low volume, is IDAI. That's back.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. There's actually a little bit of like a volume pop here, but it's really, really low.
Did they end up selling those Class A's? They say that they filed for it on Monday. Anyway.
Miserable with my nose, though. I tell you what, this is really frustrating.
Well, hopefully your Bears can take a cue.
Hopefully just laying down will make it stop running. Like, I'm just tired. I'm through a half a box of Kleenex this morning alone. It's insane.
SMX is coming back up to that gap again. Hopefully your Bears can take a lesson from your nose and stuff the run. Get it?
I get what you're trying to do there, but my nose hasn't done that. It's unable to stuff the run, and I want the Bears to behave differently than that. Man, oh man.
I tried.
My voice is starting to change now, like it's clearly affecting me.
Thanks, UP30. If you're on your way out, have a good one. Bob had a great day. I'm glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear that some folks are having a great day. It's tough on days like this where the volume is very wishy-washy and there's not a whole lot of great movers. But man, if we can find them and we can get the setups, it can be pretty good. And we have KTTA trying to recapture VWAP right now. I have a lot less confidence in this one, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But folks, we're past 10:30. If there were anybody that was sitting at their desk trading, they're probably long gone right now. Going to go enjoy their weekend. I doubt that the people getting up from their desks really come back. Just being honest. By the time they come back, the market's closed.
Kleenex are no good for you. They have chemicals that make it worse. Just blow snot rockets. Marcus, there's no way I could ever do that. but I appreciate you.
That reminds me, what's Rocket Lab doing today?
Of course, that's what reminds you of that. Of course.
Well, we're talking about launches. So, hey, how about that? It went right up to some of the resistance it was getting in the pre-market, 42.66. That seems to be the breakout spot for Rocket Lab. Ryan's got a launch pad on his face.
Man, oh man.
SMX.
It literally looks like the market already closed. Every chart that I'm looking at isn't even ticking.
And then watch some of the most wildest out of the blue price action going into the close today. It'd be crazy just to have something like that happen. What drone stocks do you guys like? Well, UP30. I think Ryan would be able to answer that easily after he's done doing his business there.
I can't do this. I hate it. I hate life. My God. Yes, I like Ondas, but I mean, you have to understand that when I first started talking about that, when I first started mentioning it on the show, it was under $1. Mm-hmm. So I definitely don't want anyone to have the thing pull back a few points and then blame me for being an idiot.
Yeah, I don't think today's a day to really be looking at drone stocks.
And no, Moses, I don't have anything for you on stock spoofing or any of that tinfoil hat nonsense that comes from Reddit. No offense.
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest. Maybe just stay off Reddit.
I do. I'm just saying, I don't know.
sometimes there's information that's on there that's good, but a lot of times it's just a cesspool of hate, racism, and misogyny and misandry. It's ridiculous.
If there is anything good there, it's covered up by a bunch of low IQ garbage.
Do we think the volume will pick up on Monday?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is clearly a holiday week, and this is perhaps the most holiday of all of the days, except for the one that the market is closed.
And this is going to be December 1st, the day that we get monthly inflows. So I certainly expect that we'll get, a lot more volume on Monday. Absolutely. I work for a company who makes drones for Tesla and the government. So, okay, so what company is that?
Yeah.
Are they public? I mean, hey, we love boots on the ground information. So UP30, if get some leftovers, sure, man. I got a ton of them. It's mostly turkey, though. But yeah, let us know what company you work for, or if it's public. We would love to take a look at it.
I mean, even if it isn't public, and even if it does business with public companies, what it does, the scope of its mission and all of that, still interested in it. Especially if it's in the drone theme. I think there's other information we can take from that.
Oh, okay. So Emery's only using Reddit for recipes. You know what? I'm sure a lot of the volatile talk is not on the recipes thread. So I think you may be safe there. Oh.
Even the options have slowed down. There's the market really seems like it's just kind of done for the day.
It's a merger, Hawthorne and SpinTech. Not the spin. No, that's Spin Launch that I'm thinking of. It's not that. Still private. SpaceX, Anduril, AVET. So I don't know when SpaceX is going to ever be on publicly listed, or if it will ever be. But we are absolutely waiting for Anduril.
Yeah, that I'm definitely waiting for. That I'm extremely interested in.
Seeing again in 20 historically, Cyber Monday trading session has often been muted, with analysts sometimes seeing it as a potential letdown. How many of those have been the first of the month? Because I think that's going to be the difference maker, the monthly inflows. Yeah, Anduril is doing a lot of fantastic things, and their turnaround is phenomenal as well. Palmer Luckey, just absolutely fantastic.
He's a fascinating guy, and he is just next level brilliant.
And it's great that he very much takes on the appearance that I was having in my early 20s with the the facial hair and not so much the shirts, but yeah, I definitely was rocking some of that look that he had. It's kind of funny that he's still rocking it these days. Back order log is very large. I'm hearing that with a lot of different drone names. It's not just one or the other. It's like a lot. There's the demand for drones is just going crazy,
and is going to steadily increase too, per the U.S. government.
And with that, I think it's one of the reasons why I like the battery plays so much. Batteries, I think they're going to be a massive theme next year, especially when you have drones and autonomous vehicles and all different kinds of things that require an independent power source. You're going to need batteries and backup batteries for all the data centers. So
I think that's another really huge theme.
Oh, yeah.
Backup batteries and all of that.
Izzy, Intel, RIP, why? We talked about some of the news they had, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of speculated on that. I don't know if the news is what's calling it to move up by 7%, but basically the news here is that they raided a former vice president for Taiwan Semiconductor who was accused of stealing trade secrets about the 5, 3, and 2 nanometer chips and delivering that to Intel. And so if this is related, then it sure seems like, well, wow, they got really good proprietary intellectual property that is going to be able to benefit this company. I don't know if that's why this is moving higher, but that's kind of what's going on here.
It might have more to do, because I'm reading something here about this. Intel jumps in top decline of momentum gains, and they're talking about how there was corporate espionage issue involving Taiwan Semiconductor.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's like
Here, let me
the
link
opposite
that story for anyone that's interested in the story.
So I think because a major foundry like Taiwan Semiconductor (TSM) is having espionage issues, that makes Intel look more attractive because they're not having those kind of issues. They have a lot of other issues, but they are a major foundry. So there could be some production shift moving over in that direction as a result of this. That's what we probably think it looks like. Also, rate cuts. Absolutely. Rate cuts are going to certainly help all the chip sectors.
Okay, 13. We're done for the day here. Happy Black Friday. Any closing words for the group?
Well, folks, it's going to have to be a short day. Today might be right now might be the end of it for you. And if it is, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend. And I will see you all on Monday. So everybody, take care of yourselves. Go eat some turkey.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I still need you for a minute here. Let me bring on Anne-Marie. Thank you.
Yep.
The chat, just getting it done. Let me bring on Anne-Marie here. Anne-Marie, how you doing? This is 13. You guys should discuss something for a minute.
It's nice to be on with 13.
It's nice to be on with you.
To be on with 13. I always get all kinds of nuggets from you, dude. All kinds of nuggets. And this morning, when the CME shut down, I thought about what you said about all of these interferences sitting all over the place that we are watching now. It's I might have to pull out the tinfoil hat and figure out what it is, because all the reports are so benign in terms of, oh no, it's just a little bit of this or an overheating or whatever. And I don't know if you and I we weren't on together, but 2 weeks ago, this happened in Dubai. Their entire stock market shut down for 4 hours because they could not bring it up. So we're seeing a lot of data centers having some issues.
Yeah, data centers.
Perfect job, guys.
Exchanges. There's a lot of things that are concerning, but they just want to continue to smooth things over as if business as usual.
Look away, folks. Nothing here.
But look at these earnings over here.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what. You guys have a good time. Nice talking to you real quick. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Take care, everybody.
All right, 13, really good stuff. Take care. And an update there, I ended up not buying anything because it's too similar to previous drops that I've had. So money saved. We'll save it for something else. 13, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. We'll follow up with you on Monday. Yeah. Anne-Marie, thanks for indulging me there really quick. Appreciate it. What do you think of this whole market?
Well, it's typical. A lot of options are going to unwind, and literally in the SPX, I think I sent you a note, 34% of all the options in the SPX alone are going to expire today. And so we might see a little bit of a pop in the last 10 minutes or so as they unwind, but it's pretty easy going. I suspect that some dip buying is going to occur next week in healthcare. We've got a lot of general bullish flow. So these pullbacks come into Monday. I suspect that they bounce again. We've got bullish flow for several days ahead into, the Fed meeting is my suspicion.
Okay. And what do you have any thoughts on that Fed meeting? Because we have some more news here where the people are kind of saying it looks like a cut. I know the CME watch tool wasn't working earlier because of that outage, but that was at like 85%. You think we're getting a cut?
I will lean on the side of Peter Tuchman simply because he's got that ear to the floor in there. And I would suspect that there's going to be a cut. They really need help with their debt flow, because one of the main reasons to cut the rates is to help with the overhanging debt that we've got. So so it looks like a pretty green day.
Sure does.
A little bit of flow outside of tech, and that's to be expected. And it's a pretty good thing to see that sort of happen. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is, if we just talk about, let's go to Visa first, because folks were talking about that. Visa on the weekly chart, it's in a flag pattern. I'll zoom it in a little bit. So you can see it had one small flag pattern that came in April. It had a double topping formation, but still a higher high. And then another flag pattern that's holding the 50% range of the pullback from April. And if you didn't see my note, dude, pseudoephedrine, you get it from behind the counter.
Yeah.
Claritin makes a version. Everybody makes a version. It's for the win. I keep it in the cupboard for those days where my nose decides it wants to take a road trip.
Yeah,
So,
I will take you up on that. I mean, I took some Dayquil here, and it's so frustrating. I feel great. I feel fine. I'm happy. It will not stop running, and it's making me sound different, and it's just annoying. It's just really, really annoying.
I feel you. Live in the same space. Okay, so here's what we want to take a look at. And of course, I'm nowhere as good as 13 at drawing these things, so I'm gonna pretend like I know what I'm doing here, and I'm going to get a trend line here for us to look and see about this long-term price action that we've got, right? It's still pretty bullish. We've got to get above this range. I believe that MasterCard is doing a really good job of eating their lunch. And I'm not sure why, but, didn't Walmart come out and say, hey, listen, we're going to have our own thing. We're not going to use Visa or MasterCard. And MasterCard, we know, is very big in Europe. And a lot of the big companies that have transactions are saying, hey, listen, we don't want to give you those fees anymore. We're going to do our own thing and transact that way. And so these guys are underneath a really important trend line, which could mean they retest this area below. Now, seasonality says they run pretty nicely into the end of the month, dip in the first weeks of January, and then end on a high note into that first week of February. So if you're looking for something and you want to trade a nice upward flow on the cheap, you can choose a January event that takes advantage of the Santa rally and whatever. That 340 is just a few pennies away, and it was 60 cents. It's now 58 cents. The 340, 350, 370 call, it gives you a little bit. It uses $1,000 of risk. If you want to widen it and say, instead of 370, you go to 360, it's $1.63. If you want to make it $20 wide, giving you a bigger opportunity to make money, because we know that's what happens to the butterfly. It gets very, very expensive. So in an unusual butterfly that does add a little bit of risk exposure, the 340, 350, 370 gives you some nice upside flow for another $10. It'd be $1,000 to the upside, but it does have a little bit of risk attached to it. I do want to review Lulu. And the reason for it is the following. So last time we were together, we talked about Lulu, and I said, listen, here's what we can do. We can buy a call spread, a butterfly. We can buy a put butterfly. And I had these anchored, so I locked them so that we could see what happened over the passage of time. So here's why I like saying, listen, find an iron condor you can sell to pay for these trades, because if they lollygag around and they take too much time to get to their price, they're going to leak money. So take a look. We had bought this for $1.08 way back when we talked about it, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. It's now 93 cents. So it's lost 10%. It's the put side It was 77 cents. It's now just a little bit above that. It's maybe gained 40%, but our credit spread is up over 10%. And so what this does is keep us, regardless of what happens, right? I mean, we've got a nice, this was 77 cents, so we've got a nice profit there on that one. But the credit spread keeps our flows in terms of what's going on with our balance. It keeps it in between the lines. So just want to tell you it's still a great place to position these if that's what you're looking for. I think Lulu's got, I would probably cover that put side and take I don't know, it's about a 50% gain right there on that butterfly. But then, you can leave that call one on and leave your iron condor on, and you just get to peel away profit as it works. It's just a great way to run the charts. It truly is.
Okay, like that. Looks awesome.
So,
I still think Lulu's gonna
it's
do
got
well.
some pop. Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
they talk about all the competition and all of that, but I still think it's best in breed. And
Yeah.
I expect this season to be pretty good.
All right, so let's take a look at.
I was just gonna say, how about Intel?
Yeah, let's take a look at Intel. Were you talking about the TSM vulnerabilities?
No, so we got asked why Intel was popping here today, and I'm not entirely sure why it's popping, but what I was talking about earlier was the news about TSM's ex-VP's house getting raided. So two residents linked to Wei Jin Lo, a former TSMC executive who joined Intel in October. His house was raided for disseminating trade secrets about the 5, 3, and 2 nanometer chips, which is what sets TSMC apart from all of its competitors. This guy now works for Intel. He worked for Intel before. And so my thought here is maybe there's a read through that, hey, maybe Intel got some really good information from this and that it's legitimate. And this might be beneficial to Intel down the road.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just speculating. I got nothing on that.
That's very interesting. My sister runs a very successful retained search company, and my thought would be, why would you hire somebody with that kind of moral fiber that would
Intel got some intel.
Yeah, there you go. But maybe that's what they do for. So here's another reason. Technically speaking, it bounced off old resistance that's trying to hold us support. That's the next thing. It's got a pretty rocky patch over the next few months. Iron Condor looks like the only thing that's, remotely within the realm to me. Yes, they are backed. They do have that government backing. So, you might want to choose a 45 and a 30 to take a look at, because that 30 is the 38.2. But we could do that. And so what would we want to do that into? I would say February would give us a fairly good shot at that. And 30, if you did a very tight Iron Condor, you could do the 30, 25, 45, 50. Uh-oh, Fred. Good grief. I had too much turkey yesterday, right? So the brain.
I mean, I would say that there's no such thing, but something's wrong with me today too. So maybe that's the case.
All right. So this one actually gives you a fair bit of premium, right? Almost half the spread. 45.50, 35.30 put spread. Short iron condor gives you a bunch. And then if you're taking a look, let's take a peek at seasonality. Seasonality peaks out at about March. So having the February, you might look at this and say, hey, why don't I get the 40, 40-45 call spread. I pay for it very nicely. You could even do a butterfly if you want to, 40-45. So remember, all a butterfly is one long call spread and one short call spread, and they share that short strike. And so that's 69 cents. You collect 218, you do it for 69 cents. There's a $500 potential upside. You collected, $1.50. So it could be worth as much as $660 with a total risk of 500 that's being put to the space. So it looks really it looks pretty nice, and you could actually put both of these on and make money. I seasonally, listen, we are seeing chip rotation. We are seeing AI rotation. We're just seeing it. And so a couple of things might be, the old saying of, hey, during the gold rush or the silver rush, the people who really made the money were the ones who sold the picks and shovels.
Right.
And so
we call that a picks and shovels trade, or a thing behind the thing.
Yeah. And so the thing behind the thing, if we're looking at all this rotation, is really still the data centers. It's who's going to pull up aluminum and get it to market fast enough, who's going to be at the space of investment. And so one of the things we could stare down is really Rio Tinto. Now, we look at Rio Tinto, and they've got earnings 219 thereabouts, unspecified, 219 central. But the seasonality looks pretty good just into that earnings space, but not beyond it, right? Beyond it, it looks pretty bad. And so the goal might be, hey, can we see if it can pop into that 80 mark? And can we see if option traders are sitting down there? Notice they're not letting us have options in February just yet, but we could do something simple like, I'm going to buy the 75.80 call, right? And that's moving up pretty significantly. It's moved up about 15 cents. It's almost 10%. Or we could buy the March butterfly, 75, 85, 95. And, that's $1.68. It's a nice way to inch into that seasonality event. If you say, hey, what if I want to buy some of this for a short run? You can always go to, let's see where the put wall is. The put wall is at 60 here for March. Let's see where the put wall is in Jan. Yeah, same thing. So they are looking at a floor of 60 in the selling space. That's where most options are prior. And, if you're saying, hey, why not have some aluminum? We are moving into a commodity super cycle. I hear people go, no, the commodity super cycle is over. There's no such thing. Listen, I promise you, we are in a super cycle, but these super cycles are long and they have lots of peaks and valleys. So the big dips, that's what you want to go after. Really, I would not be opposed to that. Here's another one you can look at, Alcoa. We know how big Alcoa is. 45.50 call spread. It's about $1.63. Whoops, that's July. Yeah, that's July 2026. You could hang on to it if you're interested in buying. That's a very strong put wall. Very, very strong put wall. It's 25% below the current price. And so that makes a great spot to say, hey, if it comes in there, I'm going to have a ton of support. If I get put to the stock, it's going to have a solid rally after it more than likely. Again, not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I would do if I saw these sitting here, and I am very interested in the picks and shovels trade, the thing
Okay.
behind the thing.
Okay. Anything else you have on your list? Should we ask the chat for some
Yeah,
here?
let's ask the chat, see what they got cooking.
Lion Atlas is suggesting tech, TECK.
Interesting. I haven't looked at these guys in a while. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Let's take these markers off. Clear the drawing set. Very strong seasonality formations. Holy smokes. Earnings 216. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Lion. Putting that one on the list. Hang on. Okay. Looks pretty solid. Let's do Fibonacci. Sorry, Shrek fingers again. Right over the 50%. Take a look at this. This is very, very interesting. See this box of motion? That's where everybody's sitting around. So this is clear inventory accumulation. We've got a trend that's pushing to the upside. So we've already broken the downside trend. And so now we've got a flag. And so the question is this flag pattern going to hold to give us a reversal event, right? This is clearly a flag sitting here in the space. Lots of good seasonality. How can we trade that? Short put spread, long call spread, combination of both. I like that, the long put spread and the call. So you want to give it time, or you want to do it quick and easy. If you say, hey, I want to do it quickly, we got 49 days into the expiry. The call wall is sitting at 48. So, maybe 45, 50 gives you $1.20 on the spread there. If you're looking at the put wall, whoa, 13,000. That's huge for tech here. You could sell the put. That, if you want to acquire this, selling the put at 36 looks really great. Other than that, not too much. If you're thinking, hey, where's my floor? The floor is 38. And that is, we are seeing that pile up there. They're looking at the same technical spaces we are looking at. And so that's a space where you go, it only uses $400 of margin if you sell the naked put. That looks pretty good. I like the bullish float. My thought is, if we are looking at significant bullish flow, why not dip into March, where we know that 38 ledge is sitting. We give ourselves a little bit extra time. They've got it all the way down here to 30 here. How much is this 30.28 going to give us if we can get the spread? Gives us about 60 cents, which is, not nothing to sneeze at. It's about 30% of the range.
Now, Anne-Marie, is that likely to change given that the spread between that 30 put is 20 by 140?
Oh, yes, definitely.
So might this be one of them where we want to put in a lower, like kind of almost like a stink
A higher bid? Yes. So the credit spread here.
A higher one, sorry.
The stink bid would be $1.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely we could do that. And then, the same sort of, let's see where the walls are. This is down at 50. I like the 45-50 spread. Nobody's got any options flow there. So, you might put that in for $1.20 and see if you can get it there. But this is a very nice one. We're going to put this one on the list of seasonality into this first half of the year. Looks pretty good. It's got a significant dip factor if we look at the 10-year versus the 5-year flow. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, that's great, Line. I appreciate that.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
And this is one that I feel like we don't look at often here.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like UTH, right? We have UTH in one of our portfolios, and it's so solid because it's in a niche space, and they run their business really, really well.
Yeah.
That being said, their seasonality has got a significant dip factor.
But that's actually good to know too, because it looks like I was saying earlier how well the chart looks really strong and I'd like a pullback. From that alone, it looks like 460 is a decent pullback level to wait out. That's 30 points from where we're at right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like it a lot.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
That's good. That was a new one on my radar there, so I'll take that all day. All right. Another suggestion here. This is a good one. What about Chewy? And maybe some leg room into 2026 on a potential trade here.
Yes.
Looks like seasonality is not great for us.
Not grand. It dips all the way down into May. But here's the beautiful thing. When you're staring at something like this, first of all, look at the pocket it's been sitting in. Right? This pocket of motion has been here since 2021. Right? And so clearly we've got sellers below us. We had this ultra low range that has not been tested. So the line in the sand for the trader using this particular price action event, it does not need to lose $28. That's going to be the zone where you go, you know what? If it loses 28, I could get back to 15. But it's holding the zone, and it's got a little bit of seasonality upshot. My favorite thing to do in this kind of formation is, of course, an iron condor, because I can make money while it's sitting around. And when it does break out or break down, I can just hit the road, right? I mean, people are going to spend money over the holidays on their pets.
No question. I'm getting ready to.
Right. And so if we stare it down, that's interesting. I wonder when I put that trade on. Okay, so what you can do is take a look at it and say, hey, it looks pretty bad until March. So let's see where the walls are sitting and see if we can sell something. And so there's a big call wall here. Now this number might shift come Monday, but there's a pretty big call wall at 40 to 45 and a put wall. Ooh, that put wall's in the money. Very interesting. Okay, so they're going to be levering out of that put wall. And so the number could be 30 to 25. Still half the size of the spread. My guess is that since the volume events are so low and nothing's going on today, what you want to do is just put that in there good till cancel, and then get yourself a space like that to position in the Iron Condor. And a lot of us side-eye these short spreads that I try to share with you that allow for revenue. I'm going to tell you this. The majority of my living income comes from doing this right here, the credit spread. Every day, every week, every month, it's doing something to eke out a little bit of profit and you do it in the right spaces, you get yourself some really great returns. So just sharing with you.
It's not always buying calls and puts. Sometimes it's structuring these trades and limiting your risk. I think this is the smart thing. That's why we do it here, Anne Marie. And that's why we share all this stuff in your chat room as well. So really good stuff there. Okay. Anne Marie, I think that's it. Really good stuff here on Black Friday. Have you found any big deals that you're looking at so far?
I'm not much of a shopper. So I don't, I used to be a shopper, but I'm not much of a shopper anymore. I'm just like
shopping for good option prices, it seems.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. My philosophy over the last 5 years has been less is more.
Yeah.
And, if you don't really need it, you don't need to buy it. And so it's kept me ahead of the curve for about 30 years, but specifically over the last 5 or 6, it's been very, very helpful.
Well said, Anne Marie. Thanks for joining us here on Black Friday. Do me a favor and have a great rest of your holiday weekend. All right.
You too, bud.
Will do. All right. That is Anne Marie. Really good stuff, folks. We're done for the day. No Paulo or Sandy here today. So, and go ahead and enjoy your Black Friday. Look for those deals. And of course, go Bears. We'll be back on Monday to get you started for another week. A lot of big earnings next week as well. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of